A lot, according to the corporate media, that is now cheering the praises of the LA riots that are burning down cars in a fire zone where there was a major fire before. Yeah, the situation is just absolutely ridiculous. Expected to get a lot more ridiculous, as of course we have the latest developments from all the politicians involved here, including Gavin Newsom, the mayor of LA, that has a lot of very interesting ties to communists. Members of Congress coming in there trying to get their 2 minutes of fame. And as this situation kind of devolves here, the one single issue still remains clear. It's that LA, California, and the communist state that it represents does not want Donald Trump to conduct any type of deportations. Will they be able to get their way through these protests? We're going to see, as that's what we're going to be discussing in this video, plus a lot more, as there's some very interesting conspiracies about who's really behind these protests here. As of course we saw once again, very crazy, wild videos from California. This now specifically the most visceral documentation of yesterday's events, where police officers were under an overpass for some strange reason, and they allowed protesters to throw rocks and electric scooters at their vehicles. There was even explosives being thrown at police officers on force units, and the LAPD reported being overwhelmed here as ABC reporters were telling people, oh yeah, it's just a bunch of people having fun watching cars. The police officers are the one causing problems here. This is footage, and I kid you not, from an ABC News reporter that had to say this about this endeavor.
People, it could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
Yeah, those police officers better not escalate the situation and allow those fun people just to watch those fireworks there and watch private civilian cars go on fire. How does that make sense? It doesn't. It's ridiculous. It's insane type of reporting. As of course, we are in riot season once again. As the characterization of everything unfolding here is very eye-opening. As the Telegraph writes, these protests are more disruptive and powerful than BLM or Save Gaza. Their resistance has arrived. They're literally just looting and burning down their neighborhoods. And of course, we have a lot of politically charged images, like this one, showing a child. They're literally just looting and burning down their neighborhoods. And of course, we have a lot of politically charged images, like this one, showing a child who, for some reason, was brought to these very violent, crazy protests where people were burning down, destroying private property, vandalizing, and starting fights with police officers. A child that was hit with tear gas that the police deployed in order to deal with the violent mob. I don't know why you would bring a kid to a violent mob type of scenario. And then this kid was affected by it, and then they, of course, were washing off his face with the Mexican flag. And some people, like Tim Pool, saying, charge the mob for bringing a kid to a riot. And that's exactly what it was here. You can even see in a lot of these videos, you know, when you see on the ground reporters that are there that don't get attacked. Independent reporters are getting attacked, by the way, trying to report on this entire saga and situation. One of the reasons why, of course, we're not there, we don't have the security. I don't want to put anyone's life in danger in order to report on this. We used to report on this type of stuff, but then they started to specifically target us. But you see people specifically burning the American flag and waving the Mexican flag and saying, F the American flag, I pledge allegiance to Mexico and nobody else, as they're mad about being sent back to Mexico. And yeah, I love Mexico. Mexico's a great place. But with these riots, we have seen police officers fail once again to contain the situation. As now, there's reports of police shortages, police officers being overwhelmed, police officers not being allocated enough resources. Who would have thought here that, you know, the National Guard could, of course, be deployed once again. Now, troops have been deployed in order to help deal with some of the unrest that's going to be escalating and growing. The mayor of LA announcing that they demand to know the next ICE raid, and if they don't know, there's going to be, quote, trouble. Essentially alluding how there's going to be more property destruction. Of course, this is a video of some of the people's personal cars out there that were just burned. Lots of Waymos, AI self-driving cars, were also damaged and decimated and burnt down in Los Angeles, as Forbes is reporting that Waymo is now temporarily suspending their service for downtown LA, as the company told Forbes that several of their robo-taxis were set on fire. As, of course, this probably won't be the last type of interaction between the technocratic AI digital space and just insane amounts of violence and property destruction that are probably going to be escalating from here into the coming months for the summer of 2020. One of the best shops, correctly named, other church and over their selves in last year. Now, yesterday, we saw wild, and again, this is going to be the new norm, as LAPD officers really put themselves in just a very strange kind of position. If you're the police officer, right? Oh yeah, hey, they're attacking all of our cars. They're lighting them on fire and throwing rocks at us. Hey, let's go on people. Great idea. Let's go. Why? Why would you do that? That's just either dumb or not smart, and they just park their vehicle and go, oh yeah, we're underneath the underpass. They throw stuff at us. Let's make it easy for them. What? Not a very calculated, not a very smart move, as protesters gathered around them and then started rocks and started throwing scooters on them. There's also reports of businesses being looted. There's also a lot of fake news out there too, that you got to be careful of, as we have a lot of people just taking their favorite kind of enemy and saying they're responsible for all this. As people are coming and saying it's Russia, China, it's the communists. And again, who's really behind this? We don't know. But it's pretty clear that the state of California doesn't want Trump's immigration policy. They don't want his deportations to happen in his state. And it would be intelligent to kind of look at these events and be like, maybe there's some orchestration, maybe there's some kind of relationship between some of these left-wing organized protesters and the previous left-wing organized protesting organizers that are now government officials. Like the mayor of LA. Right. I don't know. Maybe there's something. As they are predominantly making sure that Trump's immigration policies are not implemented. They are, of course, trying to skirt federal law and skirt policy decisions and the initiative that Donald Trump wants to initiate. As, of course, California, specifically LA, described itself as a sanctuary city. Now, once they get a whole bunch of people to come in illegally through the border, they get more congressional representation, even if those people are not citizens. And the government there wants more congressional representation. And of course, we saw crazy Maxine Waters out there. She was walking around trying to make sure that her constituents gets to stay. And she wants to make sure her job gets kept there. As of course, she's on the dole. As now, Trump's border czar is actually threatening to arrest Gavin Newsom. This is what Gavin Newsom has to say in response to that.
I've been here 10 years. The fear, the horror, the hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me, let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community, I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up, they need to stop. And we need to push back, and I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
Yep.
The perception is there's a lot.
Yeah, well, that actually happened here. Kudos, as Gavin is also, during this key critical time as parts of his city are burning down, is coming out and calling out some of the fake news on Twitter. It's good to know that he's spending his time well, as he says, this video is from 2020, and there are fake videos. Let's just be honest. There are a lot of right-wing accounts that want to make this more of a bigger thing than it actually is, as James would probably post that. But we have Kevin Dalton responding to this, saying, Gavin Newsom wants to be clear that this video is not from 2025 when he let Los Angeles burn, but it's from 2020 when he let Los Angeles burn. Thank you for the clarification there. As LA burns down a lot, very interestingly. Donald Trump released this message, which Elon Musk actually just sent out a couple minutes ago to the general public. It's a little awkward of a situation there. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But Donald Trump says Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Bass should apologize to the people of Los Angeles for the absolutely horrible job that they have done, and this now includes the ongoing LA riots. These are not protests. These are troublemakers and insurrectionists. Remember, no masks. And again, Donald Trump decreed no masks. I don't know how he's going to implement that. As the LA mayor, who previously praised Fidel Castro, talks about how the people of LA have a rapid response network to protest and disrupt ICE raids. And she says the city will not calm down unless they know where the next ICE raid is going to be. Why would they do that?
Now the Los Angeles Mayor, Karen Bass. Hi, Mayor. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi.
Hi. So what are you and your police force? I know how busy you are preparing for the hours ahead. What are you expecting on that front?
Well, I just have to say that if you dial back time and go to Friday, if immigration raids had not happened here, we would not have the disorder that went on last night. I will tell you.
Yeah, it's Trump's fault. Listen, Trump's carrying out deportations of illegals and criminals. Wrong. You better not do that. You started all this. You made me burn this car down. Why did you make me do that? That's what Donald Trump promised to do. That's what people elected him to do.
Tell you that it is peaceful now, but we do not know where and when the next raids will be. That is the concern, because people in the city have a rapid response network. If they see ICE, they go out and they protest. And so it's just a recipe for pandemonium that is
that you guys are facilitating and trying to, of course, spur on and create.
Completely unnecessary. Nothing was happening here. Los Angeles was peaceful before Friday. When we find out when and where the other raids are going to happen, that will determine how the police respond.
And then, of course, when you do find out where they are, you're going to let people know, and then they're going to let people know so the criminals or the illegals won't be able to be captured and deported. That's exactly what you're trying to do here. Obfuscate federal law. Obfuscate the will of the presidency of the United States. And then, of course, here comes Maxine Waters, this crazy unhinged lady who was literally seen walking around federal ICE facilities where they shut the door on her face.
Ma'am, our audience security for visitors.
Excuse me, I need to get in.
Okay,
I need to get in.
She tried to get inside to talk to the president of SEIU who was detained. She could not get in. The door indeed was slammed in her face.
Good.
And then here's what she said.
Over there! Talk about an insurrection. Oh, my God. Oh, no. She's trying to break and enter into a federal building. Oh, no. We need to automatically get the J6 committee back together. It's just a lot of ridiculous. The Vigilant Fox has an interesting article saying evidence suggests LA riots over ICE raids could be government funded. Who's behind the anti-ICE riots in Los Angeles? Here's the breakdown of the groups, the money, and the people following the strings here. And this guy usually does good work. I like following some of his stories here. But when you do look at a lot of these left-wing organizations, it's a lot of Reid Hoffman, it's a lot of Bill Gates, it's a lot of George Soros. It's a lot of the same kind of billionaire players that promote a lot of very radical left-wing, socialistic, liberal ideas that coalesce with a lot of the government officials that are also supported and put into positions of power, like the district attorney's office, which was able to change the face of law and justice in this country through, of course, George Soros financing it and bankrolling just a few key people in major cities in order to have those positions of power. The Mexican president also came out and is urging Mexicans to protest in the United States. Saying specifically, if necessary, we'll mobilize. We don't want taxes and remittances from our fellow countrymen from the United States to Mexico. As Donald Trump has been making a lot of policy initiatives that has perturbed this liberal, woke president of Mexico, that the people of Mexico appointed. Now, again, this is important here, as some people are saying this is an act of war. It's a little bit of a hyperbolic statement to say that, in my opinion. But when we look at a lot of these protests, as Mike Benz points out, the LA riots break out while the mayor has a history of organizing them. He says, quote, "It's crazy. This riot is in LA, where the mayor of LA, Karen Bass, was for 6 years on the board of NED, the CIA cutout that specializes in starting riots and street protests. Before that, she helped the CIA start riots. She was a community organizer, professionally organizing protests," according to Benz here. As Elon Musk responded to that by saying, "Exactly." Huh. As he says, "Hey, Trump world, what the F is the National Endowment for Democracy still getting government funding? Do you like riots? Because this is how you get riots." Yeah, a lot of things that the government has failed to do here under the Trump administration. And a lot of people are saying, hey, why couldn't we just check the budget of the Pentagon? Nope, can't do that. I was kind of disappointed on that. And I think the vast majority of Americans are like, it would be nice. It would be nice if we could, not just get price gouged and have no big military contracts and just get screwed over with our tax dollars and getting more and more into debt. It would be nice if we could just, do a little check and balance on the missing trillions of dollars from the Pentagon. But anyway, I digress here. Immigration is also a very important issue to a lot of right-wingers, and a lot of people are saying Donald Trump's not doing enough. And he sure is facing a lot of resistance for what he is already doing, as of course this significantly creates a major problem for federal agencies from being able to conduct their operations further, as this is clearly a disruption effort meant to disrupt Donald Trump's ICE and immigration policy that he wants instituted. As General Flynn set his attention, examine Antifa's strategy for the summer of 2025. And again, that's just one kind of loose-knit kind of organization here. But he talks about how they want to create chaos, mobilize dissent, disrupt law enforcement operations, and, quote, incite violence. And the left-wing media that is more aligned with these kind of liberal CIA, communistic, woke causes is one of the big kind of cheerleaders for it as well. And that's why you saw the media being like, if these people just want to burn cars and watch it, we should just let them. What? Imagine if that was your car. Imagine if you're seeing your car on the news. And then some type of insane person says, we're going to burn it down. Why? Why are you burning down my car? What does that have to do with this? They should just let them. What? Get the hell out of here. As the LAPD chief admitted that there's a professional activist here, and a lot of people are saying this reeks of a Soros operation. This was brewing for a while. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are also organically out there because they just disagree with Donald Trump. A lot of them believe that LA is, quote, stolen land. They either go and say, it's Mexican land. Oh, no, it's not American land. And they say, it's our land. It's not your land. Get out of here, whitey. As that seems to be the sentiment from all the videos that I've seen from on-the-ground reports on there. And it's a little bit of a ridiculous sentiment. But there are people who legitimately are liberal, left, woke, especially in LA, that do believe this. Is this being all orchestrated? I think parts of it are, actually. But we saw this coming, and we said, listen, there's going to be Summer of Love. We called it. We were saying it last year. I said, Trump wins, massive riots, massive protests during the summer. January, the Luigi thing was happening in the fall. I was like, this is going to build up to something big here, and it's going to transcend in other actions in more type of protest. And then bada bing, bada boom. That's exactly what we have here. Now, there's a lot of other people extrapolating, well, tidbits of information here. California, very liberal, very left-wing state here. And Reagan's immigration policies have absolutely wreaked havoc on that state here. And when we see the ramifications of it, you really got to think, man, the federal government, with their policies, with their open board, really did screw up that really beautiful, amazing state. It's sad to see what's happening. Expect more of it. Stay tuned for more. Try to...
XV1 for critical review and reaction is Jordan Maxwell on the cargo cults.
World War II, Americans flew over Malaysia. I believe it was Malaysia. And many of these small islands over there are primitive people, also known as the cargo cults back then.
Yeah.
So
very interesting.
So, and they were creating statues of and they were creating statues of planes in a way, and they were thinking of us as gods. So I want to use an analogy for a second of these cargo cults, Jordan, and tie it to the Bible, specifically Genesis within the Bible. Just because someone created us and we worshipped these gods throughout history, Jordan, doesn't necessarily mean that our creators are the good guys. Just like the cargo cults creating statues of our technology and in a way worshiping us during World War II. That doesn't mean us Americans are the good guys, if you know what I mean, Jordan.
No, obviously, that's exactly correct. You know, so these people, they saw us coming in from the sky during the Second World War. The big planes would come in and land in the Pacific on these little islands, and they were setting up outposts for the U.S. war in Europe and Japan. So these big, huge airlines would come in, military airplanes would come in, and the U.S. government would bring small candies and food and trinkets to give to the natives to keep them happy too. So the military guys, when they get off the plane, they have all these candies and food and stuff for the people. And so the people obviously thought, my God, they came in on this big thing that flew in from the sky, and they're coming off, and they look different. They're militarily dressed. They don't look like us. They're wearing clothes, and they speak another language, and they're generous. They give us all these wonderful little gifts. And so they were gods who came from outer space. Well, yeah, they did come from outer space, yeah, but they're not gods. They're just a bunch of people back in another country you don't even know exists. They just as bad as you are. But they got a big war. You got some spears to fight your enemies. No, they got a big war going.
Yeah, I got my little weapon right here, George. So,
yeah,
the one I stole from a reptilian.
Yeah, and if you want to go into the Congo, those people will be scared stiff, something like that. So yeah, and I think that's probably what happened to us. That we, a long time ago, were created by someone. And when you get into the word worship, it goes back into the Maritime Admiralty International Law, the law of banks. That's a whole different subject, but that gives you the word worship. Comes from International Maritime Banking Law. Because, I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard me talk about the international banking cartel laws of the world and how all the world banks work. And so everything's based on a ship. You have a relationship, a dealership, a sportsmanship, all kinds of ships. And then, of course, we say things like, mate, do you want to get on the ship, mate? Yeah. And so now you're a shipmate. What ship? The citizenship. So now you're a citizen on the ship of state. And so everything is based on ships. It's based on water and ships. Well, the word worth is W-O-R-T-H, worth. You take the word worth, which means the value of something. And so whatever you place a high value on, I don't care what it is, then that's your worthship. And so when we say we worship God, that means you put a high value on the idea that there's a higher force in the universe. If it's all money, then that's what we say, you worship money. Worth, W-O-R-T-H, means the value of something. And ship is a word we use on everything. We ship our clothes, we ship mail, we worship, and we have a citizenship and sportsmanship and scholarship. There's about 50 other words that end in ship. Why? Because it all has to do with banking, water. We say money runs through your hands like water. No, money is water. On the international law is concerned, money is considered the cash flow. And so the ebb and flow, it comes in, it goes out the same way. And so there's a whole world of knowledge about international banking that we just don't know anything about. But that's interesting that these words keep popping up, and worship.
Staying in that pain and sadness is not any easier. You can do it, and I'm here to help. There's the one thing I wish I would have known about depression after my...
TikTok is full of women trying to coach other women to get divorced. Constantly. And here's the thing. Misery loves company. In order to justify, like, I knew I was right, You can do it too. Come join me.
Today, we've got something rare. A woman with Wi-Fi snitching on the sisterhood. That's right. While we all know women file 70 to 80% of divorces, most people just accept the hallmark excuses. We grew apart. I just wasn't happy. He stopped taking me on dates. But this woman, she's dropping classified intel straight from the front lines of modern woman syndrome trademark. Let's take a peek behind enemy lines.
They're not. They don't even like it when we point out that an overwhelming percentage of women are the ones that initiate it. Why wouldn't you want that to be pointed out? Almost like they know. We're going to explore this today because guess what? It's all over TikTok. I just have found so many women sort of admitting that it was a mistake and it was really them without realizing they're admitting it.
Yep, TikTok, where accountability goes to die. But every now and then, someone leaks the truth. Shout out to Mr. Edwards for this request. The full video is in the description. Let's crack this case wide open.
There's the one thing I wish I would have known about depression after my divorce. One of Jane Roberts Beck's books, she says, very simply, depression is the result of feeling powerless. Powerless to change your circumstance and feeling trapped by your life. If you are feeling...
You will notice a common theme. Powerlessness. Power this, power that. Because we are in competition with you. We shouldn't be. Y'all didn't start it. But we're in competition. Somehow. We've got to just, take the jobs that you have. We've got to take the promotions. We're going to do all the things that men historically have done. And so you will see this theme, power this, power that, but you will never really see what they mean by it. But that doesn't mean we won't be able to figure it out.
Feeling depressed right now, that's the first step. Just admitting it and going, okay, I don't feel great. I feel really depressed. Then the next step is remembering that you are powerful. You just lost some momentum. That's it. And I get it. I was depressed. This is easier said than done to just make a change. But the way to get through this is take baby steps. And look at the area of your life that you're most troubled about and make that change there. And while this is not easy at first...
Okay, if anybody's like, what does this have to do with what you talked about in the beginning? Because they talk about depression after divorce, right? And then they go into all of this psychological mumbo-jumbo, power this, struggle this. What we have here is a cope. Because if he was the problem and the marriage was the problem, shouldn't the problems be alleviated? Shouldn't the depression be better? Yes. Now, a lot of women would say, oh, you're oversimplifying it, da, 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 da. No, sometimes things are just black and white, a little more black and white. They're not black and white if you've got to make excuses for things, and the thing is that when women break off these relationships, they bring the problems with them because they were the issue.
Boom. Women don't solve problems, they solve feelings. That's the quote of the day right there. See, divorce feels good in the moment, like that extra slice of cheesecake at 2 a.m. But give it a minute, and reality hits like rent day. That's when they realize, oh snap, the grass isn't greener. It's just AstroTurf from Instagram. 1 in 4 women are on antidepressants. But tell me more about how divorce was self-care.
Staying in that pain and sadness is not any easier. You can do it, and I'm here to help. Because the one thing I wish I would have known about depression after my...
TikTok is full of women trying to coach other women to get divorced constantly. And here's the thing, misery loves company. In order to justify that I knew I was right, you can do it too. Come join me. But again, there's no specifics, generalized. It's jumping from a frying pan into the fire. And you're just taking all your issues with you, and rather than them realize, oh, I think it was me. You got to do all this mental gymnastics.
Accountability? Modern women, that's like garlic to a vampire. It burns. And the system, it doesn't just enable them, it hands them the lighter and the gasoline.
Next.
I was extremely sad after my divorce, depressed for a while, numbed myself by going to see a psychiatrist and getting a prescription for a really long time because I didn't know how to deal with it. What I can kind of pinpoint now and what I hope my clients do, work with women that are divorced to help get their lives back on track. Usually they kind of follow the same pattern that I was in.
Did you catch that?
Same pattern?
She helps other women get there. She's talking about what a mess she was in, right? And now she helps other women, like I just said. These women are coaxing other women to do the same thing they made. The same decision they made. This is why divorce increases, and if one person in, a female friend group gets divorced, then others are likely to follow. But the problem is not the guys. That's why the problems go with us.
Ah, yes. The girlfriend, a.k.a. the emotional support. Yes, woman. She doesn't know the full story. She doesn't ask. She just hears, he forgot the anniversary, and responds, he's emotionally abusive, girl. You deserve better. These are not friends. They're enablers in yoga pants, weaponized by brunch mimosas and TikTok psychology.
And that's why they have to pretend it's not true.
You have control over your life, and you don't feel like you have hope. When you lose those two things, it is really hard to feel happy and optimistic and motivated because you feel like the bottom dropped out.
Oh my God, lady, talk more about feelings. Because life is all about feelings, right? And life is all about, let's just be happy all the time. We should be happy all the time and things should be easy.
I told you so. Modern relationships are based on vibes and validation, not values and vision.
And there's nothing you can do, and your life is just a mess, and it's never going to get better. If you can find some way to have hope again about something, even something just really tiny, or have control again.
Do that in your marriage.
That should help get you some momentum back in your life, and at least some better feeling. While this is not an overnight quick fix by any means, it will help you feel like you can get a handle back on your life. And
you're supposed to do all those things in your marriage. When you're down, when things are tough, you find something to be hopeful for. You find something to be joyful for. You're supposed to do all those things in your marriage so that you can save your marriage and you can lift up your husband and build him up and all of this stuff. No, they're going to save it for after they've blown up the whole thing and then figure out, oh gosh, I've got to figure out how to work on me and how to, make myself happy and all this. Like, duh. That's what you were supposed to be doing within your marriage, stupid. And you just expected him to do it.
This is pure gold. Finally, a woman preaching common sense. Too bad she's surrounded by dopamine junkies who treat self-love like a religion. Those vows, for better or worse, now comes with a footnote. Unless I'm bored, moody, or see a cute guy at Whole Foods, that's why men are walking away. And honestly, good. The juice isn't worth the alimony.
This might upset a lot of people, but I am on the dating apps again, and you know what I've discovered? Men are not afraid of divorce. But lunch with my friend Jade. If you don't follow her, it's me, Jade B. And I expressed to her that I was really scared of dating after divorce because I felt like people would judge me. She was like, girl, don't even worry about it. Men are not turned off by that. And I have found that that is 100% true. I'm not actively seeking going on dates. It's the mindset right now that if it happens, it happens. I've met a couple of really wonderful people that have not judged me at all.
Okay.
I did your
We all know that most men are good guys, right? Generally speaking, men are great and wonderful. But we also know there's a group that, just kind of want to have their fun all the time, right? These are a specific group of men that have that, lack of moral character and have the ability to attract the women. We know that the women are attracted to certain, 8s, 9s, and 10s, right? I stopped her to just give you a little bit foreshadowing here. She's like, men are good with women who are divorced. Men are good with women who are divorced. Is she talking about you guys who know red flags, who understand that if you've blown up one big marriage at this, she's not terribly old, at this young age, that it might be a serious problem? So who is she talking about that are cool with divorce? And does she know the difference between being chosen for a serious relationship, long-term relationship, category of life, or that category, or the just for funsies category, recreation only category?
Hold up. Did she just say for recreational use only? That's straight out of the manosphere highlights daily dictionary. These women are waking up and realizing the hard truth. Most men want access, not commitment. And the more mileage you put on that soul tie, the fewer buyers you'll get on the lot. No judgment for being divorced, but don't expect wife treatment after a record number of test drives.
She may not know the difference. And so when she's sitting here saying, oh, the men don't have a problem, Yeah, but for you, in which category and which men? Because I have a theory, and the lady after her, in about 15 seconds, it'll gonna tell us. You can do it.
And they're acting like a weirdo about it. Someone you'd want to date anyway. It's understandable. People can be weird about marriage and relationships. The conversations I've had have been extremely positive so far. I mean, knock on wood. Don't be scared. Just look your best foot.
It's so weird. Just so weird. Like, they're totally fine with it. I don't know. Let's hear what this person has to say about it. I think you'll find it funny for a couple of reasons.
Bitch doesn't tell me. What's the one thing you wish everyone around you knew about getting divorced?
This one is for the ladies especially. What I want to tell you is that if you get divorced, every man, every coworker you've ever had, married or not, random guys you're friends with on Facebook or Instagram, everybody will hit you up for sex. Not even joking. They see you as hurt, they see you as prey, they see you as vulnerable, and it's a hard time in your life, and they know it, and they're coming for it. I lost so much respect for men after my divorce. I was very like,
is that it? Or are these men aware that you are ready to have hot girl summer because you need to feel attractive, validated? Maybe you're getting close to the wall. Maybe you're looking for revenge on your ex to prove something. Perhaps it's that. Perhaps it's not that they want to prey upon you. Maybe there are some men out there that are. But the reason they are going after these divorced women is because they understand they're easy. They're easier. It's just the truth. You don't see those men going, yeah, they're really after the Mormons. This is not who they're after. They're after the ones that'll give them what they're looking for. And so that other chick is like, oh yeah, they don't come with doors and all that. Some people are weird about it, but whatever. The people who are weird about it are the people that understand, the people like you. So I think this is funny.
Oh, wow. She just held another woman accountable on camera. This is not what you're supposed to do in the sisterhood. You're supposed to sip wine, talk about how men are trash, and post quotes about healing under full moons. But real talk, this woman probably thought she could monkey branch to a new dude. You know, that co-worker with the beard oil and emotional intelligence. But when it came time to lock it down, turns out she was recreational use only. Again, we've seen this movie. It always ends the same.
Divorce, I was so lonely and isolated. It was awful. It's easy to think that if you just had a partner again or could just meet somebody, that would cure your loneliness, but it actually doesn't. For example, have you ever been in a relationship and still felt lonely? I know I have. So I just want you to maybe readjust your perspective on that and not look for the cure of loneliness in a relationship. I work on all this inside stuff and figure out the root of your loneliness and address that before you even start thinking about getting into another relationship, because people can sense and feel that.
Just a thought for you. Yeah. She is basically admitting it without realizing, because I can see straight through the womanese, the woman speak. She is saying, you know, you're lonely in the relationship, you're lonely outside of the relationship, you're blah, blah, blah. It's like, that's not really loneliness. That's a word she's putting on it. But it's not loneliness. There's definitely something missing.
Hi.
And it's honestly, it's probably God. But it's your responsibility to do that, to find your joy, to know your purpose, all of these things. And honestly, a lot of women are going to be realizing here pretty soon that family is what life is all about. But she's going from man to man to man, going, well, I don't know, this one's not good, this one's not good, this one's not good, to the common denominator, and it's us. And you can look at it within one relationship, you can look at it in one country, you can look at it in the West. There's a common denominator. And by and large, it's us.
Ah, the good old feminine mystique, coined by Betty Friedan, translated by Disney, marketed by Cosmopolitan. They told her butterflies equals love, but now she's in a stable marriage thinking, where's the chaos? Where's the drama? Where's the spontaneous singing in the rain with Ryan Gosling? Newsflash, boredom is not abuse. But try telling that to someone raised on Nicholas Sparks and Love Island.
We're breaking up the relationships, and then we're realizing, oh, here's the depression, here's the loneliness that I still have, that I had in the relationship, now I have it now, and now I'm going to work on it. You had work to do on yourself when you were in the marriage. The crazy thing is that even though these women are basically confessing all the things I'm telling you, they don't see it. They don't realize it. Why? Because society helps them do this. There are counselors. Counselors help them do this, help them justify all of this stuff and not realize that it's them. Helps them not to be accountable. And within each other, they do that. Books, movies, everything. It's all eat, pray, love. You know what I mean? It's go find yourself. It's be confident. Have your power. Don't let anything control you, etc. And the fact that the man is going to do it, that the man is the problem. But he's not. He's probably not.
Yes, this is the Matrix, a system that rewards emotional impulse, punishes discipline, and feeds on male sacrifice. And every time a man checks out of the game, they scream, where did all the good men go? Spoiler alert, they left after reading the terms and conditions. Bottom line, brothers, modern women treat divorce like a reset button, not a sacred vow. But the receipts don't lie. And thanks to TikTok, they're printing their own. So, do your due diligence. Listen to all. Follow none. And never forget, feelings are temporary. Family court is forever. we working. Protect yourself at all times. This video has officially been highlighted.
What'd you find? Did you get a bug?
All right, gentlemen. Today I've got some dating advice for you. I'm going to be giving you the top 5 professions that men should avoid dating. Let's get right to it. First up, we have teachers. Buckle up and get ready, kids, because while she's got patience for 30 screaming kids during the day, the minute she gets home and sees you forgot to take the trash out, you're getting a lecture longer than War and Peace. Every fight's going to be a teachable moment, and spoiler alert, you're always the underachieving student who shows potential but lacks effort. Peace will be non-existent. She's going to treat you like one of her students, giving you constant pop quizzes, condescending gold stars, and detention-level punishments for not being able to read her mind. Next up, we have nurses. Oh, sure, in the ER, she's a saint. But at home, she's Nurse Ratched with a grudge and a clipboard full of your past mistakes. Caring and compassion? Yeah, that's for work. At home, she's a stone-cold assassin, and you're her target. Oh, sure, she'll wipe some stranger's ass with a smile. But then, well, then she's going to come home and emotionally euthanize you for daring to leave a dish in the sink. One wrong move, and you'll be sitting in your own ICU, facing a passive-aggressive diagnosis and a prescription for go sleep on the couch. Number 3 is therapists. And trust me, men, every conversation is going to start and end with, how does that make you feel? Only to be followed by 6 hours of silence because your feelings aren't the ones she thinks you should have. Every disagreement will turn into a deep dive into your childhood trauma, and you'll be having a conversation about your obsession with your penis every time you want to have sex. Dare to open up, dare to vent any frustrations, and you're going to end up in a mindfulness exercise about how your feelings are rooted in toxic masculinity faster than feminists blame the patriarchy for their bad dating choices. You thought you were going to be dating a woman, but in the end, your life is nothing more than a case study on generational trauma. On to number 4, and these are a beaut. HR managers. Oh, you think she's got an open door policy? Guess again, buddy, because your life is going to be one constant, never-ending performance review. Get ready for daily verbal warnings about you creating a hostile environment, and then formal written complaints about your lack of effort in completing the other duties as assigned that she gives you. This chick's got a zero-tolerance policy for your wants, your needs, and your desires. Not to mention a 12-page handbook for how you need to apologize for making her feel uncomfortable. And when she's had enough, she won't just ghost you. Oh no, my friends. She'll schedule an exit interview with her lawyer, followed by a demand that you sign her dating non-compete agreement. And finally, we have influencers. Every date's a photo op. Every argument is content. To her, my friend, you're never going to be anything more than a prop with a pulse. Privacy? You wish. Your entire relationship is going to be the star of the show, and the world's going to know everything you did and didn't do. Hashtag bare minimum. And when she's ready to move on to the next star of her show, you'll find you've been dumped via multiple videos of her sitting in her car crying about how perfect she was, followed by a soft launch of her new boyfriend Chad's car in a blurry Insta story. All right, there's my top 5. What do you think? Got any others? Let me know. And if you decide to date one of these women, well, you can't say I didn't warn you. Choose wisely, fellas.
It is not just an insurrection in Los Angeles. It is sedition, and it is invasion. The riots we saw over this past weekend are continuing into today. They expect to have a large organizational phone call in tonight about protests against Donald Trump. As for the riots specifically in LA, they expect to continue them tonight. And these are the rioters, I'm saying. And I'll explain to you very quickly, just to kick things off, why it's all of the things I described. An insurrection. people in California rising up against the government and law enforcement refusing to intervene. This qualifies as an insurrection under the Insurrection Act. You have sedition. American citizens actively subverting the rule of law and obstructing the government from carrying out lawful duties to aid and abet foreign invaders. And why it's an invasion? Well, millions of non-citizens illegally entered this country and today fly the flag of their home nation as they enter this country in violation of its laws, seeking treasure. That's what it was called in the olden days, my friends, seeking treasure. Donald Trump has seized control of the California National Guard. They've been deployed. Gavin Newsom is outraged, demanding Trump return control of the National Guard to him. Trump says the Insurrection Act is not off the table, and the Marines are being prepped to deploy if need be. Even Pete Hegseth says, we can do it. The Democrats are defiant, saying, this shouldn't be happening. I shouldn't be arresting people. Invaders, non-citizens, criminal aliens should be allowed to remain. And that's where we get into the heavy insurrection area. Now, of course, there's questions about where something like this goes. We don't know for sure. It could be a dramatic escalation. It could be that nothing happens. It could be a summer of love. Democrats could rally against Donald Trump over this and try and muster a win in the midterms and maybe in 2028. It's hard to say for sure. Certainly on the extreme ends of these things, we have Trump fails to deport anybody. Democrats are able to muster up their additional 20 or so congressional seats and electoral college votes to subvert the will of the American people and never lose an election again. Come 2028, they take the presidency, having won the midterms, impeaching Donald Trump. Not that he'd be convicted. And then the 2030 census comes up. All of these non-citizens brought in by Joe Biden are now counted in the census. And California, Illinois, New York, Oregon, Washington, they get a mass bolstering of the congressional seats, securing their cheating. That's right. It's cheating when you get extra electoral college votes because you let in illegal immigrants. The other extreme end, of course, would be that Donald Trump succeeds, deports everybody, and Democrats never win again. And then obviously there's the substantially less likely, but still on the table, Democrats refuse to lose. Democratic governors rise up against Donald Trump. Trump invokes the Insurrection Act, deploying the military against these invasive and seditious forces. And then the Democratic governors form a coalition, put together their National Guards to defy the federal government. The National Guard leadership then has to make a decision, your home state or the country, and I think you know my point with that one. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I think rioting throughout the summer is just the most likely. I don't know that it extends beyond what we see already. The riots will be bad. Donald Trump will continue to use all of these tools in his arsenal to make sure these mass deportations happen. But I'm not sure enough deportations will happen. And with the resistance, it's going to obstruct Trump's ability to do so. I think we're looking at some kind of middle-of-the-road scenario where Trump will be successful to some regard. But I don't know who wins in the end. It's hard to say for sure. It's a question I've asked many liberals who believe this couldn't have happened, despite the fact that a year ago we all predicted it. I asked several liberals, do you think Trump will use the military to enforce mass deportations? They said yes. Do you think Democrats will let it happen? Some said yes, some said no. Well, let's take a look at the current state of affairs, the response from the Democratic Party and the Mexican president basically sanctioning what we are seeing. This is an invasion. Make no mistake. You have millions of non-citizens coming from various Central American countries, some of which are coming from Mexico. The Mexican president says these people here in the United States illegally are not criminals and should not be stopped. That is the sanctioning of the Mexican government for the criminal activities of non-citizens entering our country, to which the U.S. government is trying to expel. And they're flying the Mexican flag. So I don't know what you want to call it, but I'll call it that. My friends, smash the like button, share the show with everyone you know. My name is Tim Pool, hosting your Rumble Noon Hour as we transition into this afternoon. Thank you for joining me. Shout out to Steven Crowder and the Mug Club. It is with his Our Discord server and a book in. Smash that like button, share the show. You can follow me on X and Instagram. Let's get into the first story here, breaking down the Insurrection Act. from Fox LA. Insurrection Act is not off the table for LA, Trump says. President Donald Trump says he won't rule out invoking the Insurrection Act as violent protests against federal immigration officers continue in LA for a third day. National Guard troops clashed with protesters Sunday, firing tear gas at crowds as protesters moved on the freeways surrounding downtown and blocked traffic. Police said 2 LAPD officers were injured as they were hit by motorcyclists who tried to breach a skirmish line. This is crazy. Let me show you some imagery. The famous image that has been circulating. This is an invasion, okay? And I'll tell you where it gets real difficult. This man, wearing a mask, riding a dirt bike amid fires in LA and waving the Mexican flag. Another video of a man burning the American flag while the group waves the Mexican flag and he says, "That is not my flag is the Mexican flag." You know what the biggest problem with birthright citizenship is? The biggest problem? Now you can say it's anchor babies. You can say it's, exploitation, whatever you want to say. I'll tell you. It's that people who are born here are not inherently allegiant to this country. That includes people whose parents are American, whose grandparents are American. But the issue with this is, if large amounts of individuals, millions of people come into this country over the span of a few years, and they have kids, or even going back 20 years, these people, they still go home for vacation. They still fly their home flag. They raise their children to be adherent to that nation. This is true of any country throughout all of human history. This is how occupation works. A foreign military, a foreign group, enters your country. They're adherent to a different set of moral worldviews or ideologies or national sovereignty. They fly those flags, and over a long enough period of time, you're gone. These young men, many of whom are American citizens, by the way, were raised in a state that they were told was property of Mexico, was land of Mexico before the Mexican-American War. They hate America. They hate American politics. They have been flying Mexican flags for years. And now they say it. They said it back then, too. The issue right now is that Joe Biden has allowed in 10 million non-citizens from various countries, not all from Mexico, from Central America, some from Africa, some from China, Iran, Afghanistan. And when ICE and Donald Trump, under the will of the American people, to the popular vote, with immigration being the second most prominent issue, seek to enforce the law, they are obstructed by individuals, some of whom were born here, granted American citizenship by birthright, but who oppose the federal government's effort to maintain its national sovereignty and the will of the people. Now just think about it. Red and blue, left or right, whatever you want to call it. If you have a growing faction of individuals that keep allowing non-citizens to come in and welcome their worldview into their voting bloc, the voting bloc increasingly becomes more supportive of open borders so that other people can come in. The analogy I often use is quite simple. You and your roommate live in a house. Every Friday you vote for what's for lunch. And it's a back and forth because there's 2 of you. One day you come in, there's a guy sleeping on your couch, and you're like, "Yo, what's with this guy on my couch?" Let's just say in this scenario your name is Ronald. And your roommate says, "Ron, that's my buddy. He's got nowhere to go. I'm letting him sleep on the couch." And you argue over it, and he says, "Let's make a deal. You can pick lunch for the next month, but just let my buddy crash here for now." And he goes, "Okay, that's a good deal." A month goes by, and the dude's still there. Next thing you know, you come live with the second guy in there, sleeping on the other couch. And you're like, "What's this?" He's like, "It was my buddy." I say, "Ron, look, we got to cut a deal. We got to cut a deal." Here's what happens. Say, "You know what? No, I'm putting my foot down, okay? I'm not going to allow your friend to stay here anymore." Well, now couch guy number 1 and your roommate say, "Let's put it to a vote. All in favor of letting our new friend sleep on the couch?" They both raise their hand. You go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, he doesn't get a vote. He doesn't live here." Actually, after a month, he does. He's now a legal resident of the house. You can't evict him. And he gets a say. So, 2 against 1, our friend can stay. Yeah, that's what happened in this country. It seems quite simple. The people who are born here but whose parents still vacation and have family in other countries, I'm not saying just Mexico, they're going to vote in favor of sending resources and allowing their family members to come in. Over a long enough time, this will erode and break down the barriers that make America a sovereign nation. Now, a lot of migrants who come here legally integrate, and that's fantastic. But those that come in illegally are less likely to. Now we have this issue bubbling up where people are flying foreign flags in our country. The political news, let's carry it on. From the Washington Post. Trump charts new territory in bypassing Newsom to deploy National Guard. Legal experts question the president's response to unrest in L.A., saying he appears to be laying groundwork for more expansive use of the military to suppress dissent. Well, why aren't Democrats stopping the riots? Because this is the policy of California. This is the policy of the Democratic Party. This is what I would refer to as privateers. We've seen this take many forms, but it's a common tactic used throughout all wars. Maybe not every single war, but in modern warfare especially. Let's take a look at, as I mentioned before, the colonial era. You had privateers and corsairs. The British Crown would say, hey, the French, we don't like them. Go and attack them, but don't fly our flag. They would sanction and often supply privateers and tell them piracy was okay so long it was the French you were attacking. So if they saw a ship on the high seas flying a French flag, they'd attack. Capture, kill, seize. When word eventually got to France, like the ships are disappearing, after, we found the flotsam, it looks like it was pirates, it looks British. The French would send an emissary to the British Crown and say, you are attacking us. They say, those are simply pirates. Oh, heavens me, we don't sanction that. That's not us. That's what California's doing right now. We see it today in modern warfare with hacker groups. A hacker group will operate in Russia or China, attack American infrastructure, and their governments will deny and say, these criminals, we'll arrest them if we find them. But we know they're sanctioned, and they're not going to face obstruction because they're attacking the enemies of that country. California is standing down. The reason why they don't want the National Guard deployed, the reason why the police aren't doing anything, they want illegal immigrants in the state. They're a sanctuary state. They do this so they can cheat elections. That's the harsh reality. For the post-millennial, 500 active duty Marines are prepared to deploy to LA. Now, I'll tell you why this is insurrection. Because people are flying foreign flags. You may say, Tim, posse comitatus. You cannot use the military to enforce local laws. I win. And my response is, indeed. But when we have non-citizens and people flying foreign flags, that is a function of military enforcement to deal with. Now, if you want to argue posse comitatus, because you're saying that the Army, the Marines, the Air Force, whatever, the Navy, can't arrest someone for jaywalking, I'll say, agreed. And the argument they're going to make is, these are just protests. They're protests. No, it's seditionist, insurrectionist, and invasive attacks and riots. So, is everybody who's rioting a citizen? Or is it that those that are rioting are working at the behest of a foreign entity? Indeed, that's the case. In which case, Trump invoking the Insurrection Act is exactly what the law is for. The Post-Millennial reports. CNN reported that the U.S. Northern Command has said about 500 U.S. Marines were prepped to deploy to L.A. to quell the riots that have broken out there for 3 straight days. On Sunday, planned protests at the federal courthouse turned to riots after the protesters were moved away from the area.
I also want to ask you about some breaking news that we're just getting in. This is brand new into our newsroom, that the U.S. Northern Command is saying that approximately 500 active duty Marines are, quote, prepared to deploy. In their words, as unrest in Los Angeles continues. This is after, of course, the Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, had mentioned this. Is that necessary at this point? No. I'm going to be, not operationally, it's not necessary. There may be other reasons for it. I want to just put this.
We don't know that we need the Marines just yet. And I think that's fair across the board to say. Trump has deployed around 2,000 National Guard to Los Angeles after riots erupted. Pete Hegseth said that if necessary, he could deploy Marines. We've got a problem. We got a political problem. There's no answer. Now, there's no easy answer. I ask it to you, and you can comment. Let me know what you think. Join in the fun. Democrat governors band together to condemn Trump's deployment of National Guard in California. They're flying foreign flags. And Democrat governors are on the side of non-citizens. You have this. Let's roll, baby. From livemint.com, migrants are not criminals. Mexico President Claudia Sheinbaum criticized LA raids. This crossed the line. Now we're getting serious. Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum defended migrants living in Los Angeles and claimed that at least 35 Mexicans had been detained in the recent raids carried out by immigration officers of the Trump administration. The arrests made in L.A. and the immigration raids triggered a wave of protests in the region, which has even led to the deployment of the U.S. National Guard. Quote, Mexicans living in the United States are good men and women, honest people who went to the U.S. to seek a better life for themselves and support their families. They are not criminals. They are good men and women. Indeed. Sheinbaum also stated that multiple Mexicans were arrested in the ongoing immigration raids. The count, as suggested by her, currently stands at 35. During her moving speech, she asked everyone to stand by the arrested Mexicans. And there it is. As it's been interpreted, many have said that she has called for the rioting. You cannot, you should not, allow a foreign leader to defend these invaders and then call on those in this country to defend them. We are entering very serious territory here. These are not citizens. She even said these are Mexicans who are in the United States. Immigration is arresting and deporting individuals who are not here legally. That's normal sovereignty. This is not, it's not special, it's not unique. Countries remove people who enter illegally. I don't care if you're France, Japan, or Burundi. You enter the country illegally, you are subject to removal. That is defense of a sovereign nation. What do you do when your neighboring country tells people in your country to stand by and defend people who have entered illegally that you are seeking to enforce against? This is encouragement of invasion. But they're seeking a better life. Of course they are. Why else would anyone invade any other country? Did the Vikings seek a better life when they ransacked, raped, and pillaged in the British Isles? Of course they did. I'm not suggesting the Mexicans coming to this country are trying to down, although some in the riots certainly are. The overwhelming majority are trying to get jobs. But this is illegal. And this country seeks to defend its borders. From the most ridiculous of invasions, the argument has always been a better life. For whatever reason. When religious fanatics invade another country, they say it's because these poor people are being exposed to a false god, and we can give them a better life. They should be given us. The world leaders don't come out and say, like, we want to make their life worse. Sometimes, don't get me wrong, I'm saying it's a tendency. It's a tendency. The Vikings raid the British Isles. They rape and pillage so they can make their lives better. They steal the women, and they go back, and guess what? They didn't live better lives. They got free stuff. Stealing chickens and young women, stealing treasure. When people come into this country, displacing our workforce, and committing crimes, not all of them, we, as a nation, have to protect our interests. This is where we get into very serious insurrectionist territory. And then what happens when Democrat governors defend them? This is where it gets really scary. Post-Millennial reports. A coalition of Democratic governors issued a joint statement Sunday condemning Trump's decision to deploy the California National Guard without Bishop's consent, calling it an alarming abuse of power. In fact, it's not. They said it undermines both state and public trust. No, it doesn't. Trump would not. Here's the question. Does Trump have the legal authority to take command of the National Guard of the state? Yes. Otherwise, it wouldn't have happened. If he didn't have that authority, the National Guard would have said no. I do believe we are entering the possibility of, man, I don't know how to describe it. Donald Trump occupying state governments, federal law enforcement, shutting down local law enforcement. It's what would you call it? Occupation, I suppose? In California, I suppose you can argue it's happening. The sheriff says he's not going to enforce these laws. The police are standing down, so Trump sends in the National Guard to stop this. ICE and the feds are going in to enforce federal law. If Democratic governors say we will not enforce the law and then Trump has to send in National Guard or Marines and declare an insurrection, that's where things get real crazy. The occupation of Democratic states because they're refusing to enforce the law. And then at what point do we actually intervene at the federal level in their state governance? I mean like beyond law enforcement. 22 Democratic governors have co-signed this statement amid escalating violence. Let's pull this up. Here's their statement. Statement from the Democratic governors on Trump's use of the California National Guard. And it includes a big list. I'm not going to read all their names. President Trump's move to deploy California National Guard is an alarming abuse of power. Governors are the commanders-in-chief of their National Guard, and the federal government activating them in their own borders without consulting or working with their state's governor is ineffective and dangerous. Further threatening to send the U.S. Marines into American neighborhoods undermines the mission of our service members, erodes public trust, and shows the Trump administration does not trust local law enforcement. Well, they're refusing to enforce the law. What would one do? It's important we respect the executive authority of our country's governors to manage their National Guards. And we stand with Governor Newsom, who has made it clear that violence is unacceptable and that local authorities should be able to do their jobs at the chaos of this federal interference and intimidation. My friends, what we're getting, this is not the Democrats concerned about violence. This is not the Democrats concerned about local law enforcement being subverted. This is Democrats' subterfuge. 52 congressional seats and electoral college votes come from California because they're a sanctuary state with a massive illegal immigrant population. Joe Biden allowed in 10.5 million illegal immigrants into this country. If Trump does not deport them before the 2030 census, Democrats will bolster their vote count in Congress illicitly and their vote count in the Electoral College, and they'll never lose again. Well, to be fair, to communist Republicans who shift leftward in a desperate attempt to try and muster votes. You know, I will say I blame Ronald Reagan and his Amnesty Act from 1986. This is where it all begins. He turned California into a permanent blue state. All of the immigration studies and scholars show this. And it's simple logic. If your parents are illegal immigrants and you are given your birthright citizenship or amnesty, when it comes to a vote, what you vote for? Of course you're voting for your parents. That's your interest. It is not out of the question. It's not absurd or ridiculous to think an individual will always vote for what benefits them. That's the point of voting. What's in your interest? If the United States continues down the path of allowing for the interest of foreigners in this country, and I mean actual foreigners, I'm not talking about people who have been born here, you will get an erosion. That's why you need integration and controlled immigration. Immigration's great. Of course, the media is doing it, the left, is they call illegal immigrants migrants. They say they're the same thing. They're not. Even then, you have a challenge if you have too much blanket migration. It's just stupidly simple. Okay, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Let's just simplify to the stupidest degree. If you've got 10 people from
quite the jump there,
Italy,
little girl.
guess what they're having for dinner? I wouldn't be surprised if it was Italian food. It's a big Italian family, and they made a bunch of linguine with lots of sauce, Parmesan sprinkled on top, maybe some mozzarella. Sounds great. What do you think happens if you bring in 10 Mexicans? Are they going to all stand around and vote for Italian food? They're going to want to have Mexican food. They're going to want to have some mole sauce, which is also equally delicious. Now, hey, you know what? I like both. I love Italian food. I like gnocchi, and I like Mexican food. But if you're an Italian family, and one day they bring in 30, let's say, Ethiopians, when you vote for lunch, you're not getting Italian food. You're going to get Ethiopian food. It's good food, but it's not what you want. That's the point. People will always vote for their interests. And what's happening now is people who have fealty, who have allegiance to a foreign nation and non-citizens are firebombing vehicles and attacking federal law enforcement. You have yourself an insurrection. What's the natural conclusion? Either Trump mass deports everybody, and then Republicans win, and Democrats are forced to the middle, which may be the case. Democrats win, Trump fails to deport anybody, the census comes around, and then Democrats win every election then, because they get extra votes. Maybe something worse. Trump does begin mass deportations, refusing to give up factions of individuals who are allegiant to foreign countries or who are ideologically possessed, fight back. It was crazy for me to see videos of not just police being attacked. I saw a video of a man punching several cops in the face. I've never seen that before. I'm not kidding. I have seen people fight with cops. I have seen people de-arrest. I've never seen a man charge and start punching cops in the face during these riots. It is escalating, and the National Guard has been deployed. If someone chooses to drive it to the next escalation, that's when things get scary. Now, right now, my friends, we're going to be joined by Julio Rosas, who's been on the ground reporting. For those that want to watch that interview and you're watching the pre-recorded segment, make sure you check out youtube.com/TimCast or rumble.com/TimPool. That'll be up at 4 p.m. For everyone watching live, that'll be up in a few minutes. Don't forget to smash that like button, share the show with everyone you know. Stick around. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all in the next segment.
What's up, Mom? It's cold out there today.
You think letting your cat sleep with you every night is harmless, right? Well, what if I told you it's secretly changing you in ways you'd never imagine? Sure, the cuddles feel great, but there's a hidden side to this nightly routine that's deeply affecting your mind and body. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll finally understand what's really happening to you every single night. 1. Unexpected boost to your emotional health. Did you know that your cat sleeping beside you can do more for your mental health than most therapy sessions ever could? When your cat curls up next to you, something powerful happens inside your brain. According to a study by the Mayo Clinic, co-sleeping with a pet can dramatically reduce anxiety, stress, and feelings of loneliness. Participants in the research reported significantly lower levels of cortisol, the hormone associated with stress, meaning your cat's nightly snuggles are literally calming your nervous system.
Well,
but it
good.
Doesn't stop there.
Didn't
Regular cuddling sessions trigger your brain to release oxytocin, famously known as the bonding hormone. It's the same chemical that strengthens bonds between parents and their children, making you feel more connected, secure, and emotionally balanced. But here's the thing. As incredible as these emotional perks sound, there's actually a significant hidden downside to this cozy habit that even the most devoted cat lovers rarely talk about. Stick around, because later I'll share exactly what that is, and trust me, you'll want to know. 2. Your cat quietly reshapes your bedtime routine. Think you're in charge of your evening routine? If your cat sleeps with you, think again. Cats thrive on consistency, and when they share your bed, they subtly push you into their rhythm. Maybe you've noticed it. You start dimming the lights earlier, brushing your teeth at the same time, or even skipping that extra TV episode, because your cat has already claimed their spot and is staring at you like, let's go, it's bedtime. And here's the thing. Your brain actually likes that. A consistent bedtime routine tells your body it's safe to relax, helping regulate your internal clock and improve overall sleep quality. So while you think you're doing your cat a favor by keeping things predictable, they're doing you a favor right back. Of course, they won't hesitate to wake you up at 4 a.m. if you're late with breakfast, but by then, they've already trained your nervous system to wind down on cue. And hey, before we move to the next one, make sure to hit like and subscribe so we can get this video to more people who love their cats as much as you do. 3. Hidden influence on your physical health. Could your cat's presence in bed actually be affecting your body, not just your mood? Most people think of cats as emotional companions, but their impact might go deeper, straight to your physical health. According to research published in the Journal of Vascular and Interventional Neurology, pet ownership is linked to lower blood pressure, reduced risk of heart disease, and even improved immune system function. It's not magic, it's biology. physical contact with your cat, especially when relaxed in bed, can lower stress-induced inflammation in the body. Less inflammation means your heart and immune system don't have to work as hard, which may explain why pet owners often report fewer sick days and better overall health. And while studies usually focus on dogs, the stress reduction mechanism is the same. Consistent affection, routine, and the simple act of feeling connected. So if your cat insists on curling up on your chest, that little fur ball might be doing more than just purring. They could be giving your health a quiet boost. 4. Your bond deepens, but not how you think. You might think your cat sleeps with you because they love you, but there's something deeper going on. When a cat chooses to sleep beside you, it's not just about warmth or comfort, it's a powerful sign of trust. In the wild, cats are most vulnerable when they sleep. So if your cat regularly curls up next to you, it means they see you as part of their inner circle. But here's what's fascinating. The trust doesn't just flow one way. You, the human, start to form a kind of subconscious attachment too. According to animal behavior experts, routines like co-sleeping can increase oxytocin levels in both species, strengthening your emotional bond every night without you even realizing it. Over time, this creates something that goes beyond affection. Your cat becomes part of your nervous system's idea of safety. That's why, on nights they don't sleep with you, something just feels off. And this emotional link, it's not just comforting. It changes how you respond to them during the day. More patience, more play, deeper understanding. Because without even meaning to, your cat becomes more than a pet. They become your emotional co-pilot. 5. You may actually live longer. Sounds dramatic, right? But sleeping next to your cat might literally help you live longer. Multiple studies have shown that pet ownership is associated with increased longevity. And it's not just because animals make us happy. It's because they regulate us. From lowering blood pressure and cholesterol to encouraging daily routines and reducing stress hormones, cats create a steady rhythm that your body craves. One long-term study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that cat owners had a significantly reduced risk of dying from cardiovascular diseases. Why? Because reduced stress, increased relaxation, and daily companionship all add up over time. Especially at night, when your body is most vulnerable, that sense of calm can literally change how your nervous system functions. And here's the kicker. It's not about doing anything special. You're not meditating or running marathons. You're just lying there, letting your cat purr on your chest. Yet somehow, those little moments may be adding years to your life. 6. Your cat's behavior changes, for better or worse. Sharing a bed with your cat might be changing them just as much as it's changing you. When your cat sleeps with you every night, their behavior starts to shift in subtle ways. For one, they become more attached. Cats that co-sleep often develop stronger bonds and may start following you around the house more, seeking attention during the day, and even showing signs of separation anxiety when you're gone. You're becoming part of their territory, and cats guard their territory closely. That's why you might notice more kneading, purring, or grooming behaviors from your cat. These are signs that your cat is treating you as a trusted, comforting presence. Basically, you're their safe place. But there's a flip side. Some cats can become too attached. If they get used to always being beside you, they may grow restless or vocal when you're not available, even if it's just for a night. It's rare, but for particularly sensitive cats, this attachment can lead to anxiety behaviors, like scratching furniture, excessive meowing, or refusing to eat when you're away. So while the bond is beautiful, it also means your cat is building routines around you. And if those routines shift, your cat might struggle with the change. 7. The surprising downside. Almost no one talks about. Remember that hidden downside I mentioned earlier? It's time you hear the part no one tells you. Letting your cat sleep with you every night feels like the ultimate bonding ritual, and in many ways, it is. But here's the quiet truth. The very thing that brings you comfort can also create emotional dependency for you. Over time, you might find it harder to fall asleep without your cat beside you. Nights spent away, on vacation, at a friend's, or even if your cat is just staying at the vet, suddenly feel off. Some people report heightened anxiety, restlessness, and poor sleep when their cat isn't in bed with them, almost like withdrawal. And it's not just emotional. You may unconsciously start structuring your life around your cat's needs, bedtime, wake-up times, even turning down overnight plans, because your brain has wired your pet into its definition of comfort and stability. So what started as something sweet and harmless slowly evolves into something that can limit your independence, especially if you're unaware of how deeply it's affecting you. Now, does that mean you should stop letting your cat sleep with you? Not at all. But being mindful of how much control this routine has over your own well-being, that's the real secret. Because the healthiest relationships, even with your cat, come from balance, not dependence.
How to pass a shit test of a girl. How to pass a shit test of a girl complaining about not getting complimented enough. Walk away. Should you compliment and how? No. I reluctantly compliment to not lose frame. You lost frame by complimenting, actually. Maybe I used too much dread. Much love. No. Snarky Schmuck. I like that name, too. Maybe that has something to do with it. Compliments are positive reinforcement. It's like giving gifts or flowers or some shit like that. You know when you see flowers on a girl's desk at the office or some shit, right? And it's not Valentine's Day, and it's not her birthday, and it's not a holiday. Somebody fucked up. That's what people's first impression. Oh man, what did he do? It's a big gigantic bouquet of like red roses. Either he proposed to her, or he fucked some other girl when he was on his business trip. Most women, when they see that, they just unannounced flowers is bad news. Not good news. Oh, who fucked up? Even guys will say the same thing. Right? But compliments are like cards on your birthday, right? Compliments are like gifts, or they should be treated as gifts. I mean, the problem with guys giving compliments is that if you give too many of them, suddenly you're creepy. And then second of all, like, why would she be complaining about not getting compliments? To me, that sounds like major insecurity. How come I don't get many compliments? From who, me? Or just dudes in general? Do you want, like, compliments from other dudes? Because if that's the case, I got 10 other girls. Compliments are, like, earned, man. Like, I look cute today. I need compliments. Stroke my ego. What? No, compliments are rewards. They are, let's see, positive reinforcement for desired behavior. I'm going to be a behaviorist now, okay? If girl sucks your dick like a champ the night before, you're getting flowers.
I love the way that you just
if she does something that goes out of her way to please you in some way, I mean, it doesn't have to be sexual. It can be. It probably should be. But if she goes out of her way to, like, make your day better or to give you peace. No, there's no such thing as peace. Shut up with the peace thing. You're never going to get peace from a woman. Oh, I could do a whole fucking series of videos on that. But if she does something that makes her life a little bit easier, if she does something that's, like, genuinely, like, inspired to show you, like, go for it. Do you know what the 2/3 rule is? Have I talked about that? Talk about the 2/3 rule. Okay. It's at heartiste.com. Well, heartiste.org. Gee. There we go. It's in the 16 Commandments of Poon. I know. Don't judge it by the title, please. But it's called the Rule of 2/3. Where did it go? La la la. Let's see. there we go. Okay. I'm just going to read it to you. I could show it, put it on the screen, but it's easier just to read. It's just one paragraph. Number 5, adhere to the golden ratio. Maybe this is probably the best thing you can do. Give your woman 2/3 of everything she gives you. For every 3 calls or texts, give her 2. 3 declarations of love can earn 2 in return. 3 gifts, 2 nights out. Give her 2 displays of affection and stop until she's answered with 3 more. When she speaks, you reply with fewer words. When she emotes, you emote less. The idea behind the golden ratio is twofold. It establishes your greater value by making her chase you and demonstrates that you have the self-restraint to avoid getting swept up in her personal dramas, such as, I need some more compliments. Refraining from reciprocating everything she does, you in equal measure instills in her the proper attitude of belief in your higher status. In her deepest loins, it's what she truly wants. That is the law of the 2/3. Always give her 2 and answer with 3. That's how it works. Positive reinforcement. See, she's still there. She's still on the hook. Play the fish. She's still on the hook. But you have to establish greater value. And this is a good, there's other ways to do it than just the 2/3 rule. But this is easy. Remember I told you how people need process? This is process. 2/3. And it's not like you go, she only gave me 2 kisses this morning, so I'm waiting for the 3rd. Like that character. We're going to blow up the moon. No. It should be something that is sort of second nature. I do this all the time with my wife. Okay, I love you. I love you too. I love you. I love you too. I love you. Fond of you. Yes, it is. It's demonstrating. Thank you. Very, very astute. Demonstrating higher value. Thank you. That is what it is. If she is bent on is she fat? I need more compliments. Yeah, fat girls usually do. Why would you be with, first off, why are you not with multiple girls? If you're spinning plates, this would not be a problem.
Well, late last night, apparently a YouTube beef boiled over between 2 relatively small YouTubers, but it speaks to a lot of this kind of always online culture where people feel like they have to respond to internet beefs. When I was younger and just kind of, growing my audience, I definitely did a lot of this. I did a lot of, trolling. I did a lot of, live stream, arguments and pwn videos and stuff like that. Here we have 2 different YouTubers who apparently just review food or they're like Vegas streamers. And one of them goes by Finny the Legend, and the other, whose YouTube channel is now deleted, goes by Sin City Manny. And yesterday, in front of the Bellagio, apparently Sin City Manny decided, hey, it's a cool idea for me to hop on this other dude's live stream and live in front of I don't know how many viewers, take his life and his wife's life in broad daylight, live streamed on the internet. He's driving around. Here's a video of him driving around looking for this guy. He's going to obviously try to say that this is self-defense, but it's not. Here's a video yesterday of him.
Jerome, I'm out here searching for my baby. But I went through every fucking casino there is. I heard there's one of my biggest fans here in fucking town. I was dying to see him. Fucking dying to see him. What are we doing, fuel bar tonight? Is that what we're doing? I'll fucking be there. I'll fucking be there.
He's driving around all day looking for him.
From my city, you think I'm not gonna show up? You fucking think I'm not gonna show up? I should have been the first one to be told. Right?
Understand that this is a YouTuber with, these are both incredibly small YouTubers, and they're taking this ish, like, so incredibly serious. He live streamed
outside. We're doing fuel bar tonight? I'm fucking there, homie.
Yeah.
What's the fuel bar without the fuel? We're doing the fuel bar tonight. Fucking go. Or wherever you go, be there.
Yeah.
Oh man, come on, I have to say hi to my biggest fan. You know?
Now apparently, this guy, Finney, had been farming him for views. When I looked through some of his history, you see SCF deletes video groping a woman. They had some sort of internet beef, apparently. SCF deletes stream using the N-word and lies about it. This is like internet blood sports at the all-time cringe levels. Well, last night, let's see here if I have this. Here. Here's a live stream. I don't know if there's audio here. Here's Finney right here. Okay. Hanging out. I'm assuming his other tough guy is coming up here any second. Yep.
Oh
okay, right there. So he comes up, he's wearing a hat and sunglasses. His wife says, hey, you're not going to do anything. Or like chill out or whatever. There he is. And then you just see, I'm not, going to show the crime, but then he just fires a bunch of rounds into both him and his wife. This is over an internet beef, on site, no questions asked. That's what he said. Now there's some initial reports that he's on the run still. So I actually don't, they said he was detained, but I don't think so. I think he's still on the run. This was at 6 a.m. this morning. Manhunt underway after 2 people lost their lives over stupid internet beef. Manhunt is underway after 2 people lost their lives in Las Vegas last night near the Bellagio fountains. Sheriffs ran to the incident, were responding to it. Well-said LVMPD believes they have identified the suspect. Well, yeah, of course, it's on camera. And in Sunday night's incident was an isolated incident, knowing that the suspect and victim had previously engaged in some sort of conflict using a variety of social media platforms. At this point, every effort is being made by members of the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department to locate, apprehend, and arrest the suspect who is responsible for this crime. Well, we know who it is. I mean, YouTube has already deleted his channel. This Finney individual, I don't know, I mean, he's dead now. If you look at his wife, too, like, it's crazy. You can see people coming to his channel saying, I'm in shock. I watched it happen live on the stream. I love them. They were great people, fun and funny. They will greatly be missed. These YouTube cults, especially with these people online, love to hype up these online beefs. Now look where they are. Yeah, I mean, clearly this Finney individual also participated in kind of amping up the beef. He definitely farmed him for some lolcow content or for some content. Stop playing word. I know something his lady is down. Oh, I see it on here. All due respect, I told you, bro, you're busting your gums.
All right.
About the wrong individual.
Ladies, I cleaned the
individual. Now look where you lay.
I cleaned the poop off of here.
All these videos about the homie Manny, like it was all fun and games. I mean, there's people in his comments celebrating it.
Hold on. Come on. Oops, sorry.
This is weird culture, like gang culture stuff. I mean, there's a lot of people in these comments who are saying, we told you so, you're not allowed to make fun of people on the internet, you're not allowed to talk. That's crazy. There's absolutely no excuse for this. You know, a coward with a weapon, too afraid to use his fists. True. You know, crazy because he got so upset and wanted off. Those people not realizing he had offered himself as well. This thing is, you know, both don't even have a heavy following. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is nothing. I bet Manny, the dudes are in jail regretting everything. It's always after you do what you think you want, then when you realize you really didn't want to do it. Manny always says women are so emotional, but it's the opposite. Most men don't think past the common sense radar, and it shows every day. You know, I don't even understand. Dude had a video calling out his name, talking about how he could get him if he wanted to. Now look, got smoked. So, they escalated this YouTube beef to, you know, nothing. I mean, this is, I don't know, hood logic, gang culture. I don't know what else to say, but dude had 3,000 subscribers. Are you out here, you know, you out here escalating these beefs, and then, like, this guy really has no reach, and he took his life over it.
Well, Gomo, but other girl got the height advantage. Look,
I mean, this is just, I don't understand, like, why on earth these clowns on either side would take, now, look, he's allowed to roast him on the internet all he wants, and I'm not going to hear any of that, any of those, you know, smoke alarm chirping logic people telling me, oh, well, this is how it goes. You can't just insult somebody. There are consequences. Nah, that's not how civilized people roll. And, you know, if you want to tell me that, you know, the guy rolled up on him and checked him, maybe they got into a fist fight, maybe I'll listen, even though really civilized people don't put hands on anybody over words. But now 2 people are dead and the 3rd person is in prison. You have chilling moment. Las Vegas cop ends the live stream after a YouTuber films his own passing. The last image on the live stream was captured in the moment after the incident. In the video, you know, it could be heard as a woman believed to be the streamer's wife screams, "Are you effing kidding me?" The incident was live streamed by a popular live streamer went by the name Finney the Legend. Initial reports suggest he was one of the victims alongside his wife. By the way, why did you go after his wife, dude? Under Sheriff Walsh said during a press conference on Tuesday, immediately ran towards the incident. When they received calls to the scene this morning and arrived to find 2 victims, officers immediately ran. He also said they believe the suspect, you know, had some online beef, which we know. A manhunt continues. At this point, you know, people who were near the scene felt shocked after the incident. One commented saying, "We were a block away. It shook me in a way I've never felt." It's so stupid. Like, you get one life, you know? You get one life, and you're gonna let some moron in the internet. Like, they say that about women, right? Women are so emotional. I see a lot of men acting like this, ruining not just their life, but other people's lives by acting emotionally and irrationally to words on the internet. Whether it's, you know, saying something stupid to get themselves banned, or it's doing something to this degree, where now you're going to get life in prison, and 2 people are over 2,000 subscribers? Not that if they had 100 or 1 million, it would have been any different, but it's hard to imagine getting gassed up over a tiny YouTube channel. Like, what the hell? This other individual, Manny, I think, had 10,000 subscribers at the time. Again, a relative nobody. And,
alright, ladies.
Like, what is he doing?
Clean the poop off
He
of
had
both of them.
14,000 subscribers.
That's what I get for letting you guys have
prison. By the way, after the shooting, he gained 200
mezzanine ladders.
That's the internet. What a messed up situation.
That are open.
Life is, you know, words are just not that important. You're always going to have haters in life, and
that's
I
alright.
just can't imagine ruining my
you
life
ladies
over it.
are
It's
worth
so
it.
crazy. What an idiot. I hope you're informed by this video. Take it as a cautionary tale to take a breath sometimes. We'll talk again real soon.
Get some facts. Get a
All
dog.
these politicians are some of the
Get
dirtiest, nastiest, deranged, disgusting, degenerate dogs out there.
Gross.
It gets way worse than just those AI videos that give us a little bit of a sneak peek into the deprived minds of the ruling elites that are truly up to some weird stuff. As of course we have another update surrounding the story of the decade that a lot of powerful people just want to go away or to try to cause confusion amongst what the hell actually happened with the Jeffrey Epstein client list. There's a lot of powerful people out there, but there's elements of the media that are now trying to say no. It's the people trying to get transparency here for the thousands of children that were hurt here that are the problem. As Tim Dillon, a comedian here, has been on point, specifically speaking out against this issue in what I would describe as the most honest and correct way. His commentaries, especially with what just happened with Chris Cuomo, absolutely incredible. We're going to be playing that clip, going through it point by point, as of course there's a lot to discuss here, as there is an ongoing obfuscation effort that the people of the world will not forget, will not fall for, if we are vigilant enough. We're going to be talking about that, plus a lot more, going deep down the rabbit hole in this particular video, and if you appreciate that, and our reporting on this issue for about 10, 15 years, subscribe. Click the notification button, as of course the latest that we're getting is that Elon Musk actually deleted the tweet of him saying that Donald Trump was on the Epstein list and that we will not be getting the list. He also tweeted and then deleted that he would apologize profusely if the list is released, and so far as Time Magazine is reporting here, where do things stand on the Epstein files? It's all big, I don't know, Any timelines? Nope. Any details? Nope. Any kind of descriptions of where or when or how or what? Nope. Just a lot of kind of weird contradictions between the FBI director that's making statements saying, oh yeah, there's no videos here, and Pam Bondi, the Attorney General of the United States, saying thousands of videos, including the witch of show Epstein with small children. But now, and again, we've been raising the red flags here, the red alarms here, for a while, saying specifically the fact that there's no timeline, there's no description here, the fact that now federal agents are trying to change the dialogue from who was on that list to if Epstein met his demise or not. That right there, I'm like, whoa. Why are we rehashing old debates that have already been settled? Why are we going back and creating these type of artificial controversies that take away from the real discussion, which is who was on that list? Why are they still out there? Why are so many powerful people still, that are children, in our mainstream, mainline political system? That's the issue. What compromise is there on them? What information do they have on them? What type of compromise being utilized right now? That's what the American people want to know, because they want a clean system, they want a good system, they want a system that actually represents them and not predators out there. As of course, even Elon Musk himself, that has been speaking out against the Epstein list, according to Business Insider, had his brother hooked up by Jeffrey Epstein, according to some sources. Elon Musk also met with Jeffrey Epstein in 2011 with other heads of Silicon Valley, by the way. And then there was talks about Peter Thiel, another big-time insider to this administration with connections to Palantir that Tim Dillon also spoke about in a very interesting way. We'll get to those clips in a little bit here, but I think the most disingenuous take of this matter is done by Chris Cuomo, and I think either he is an idiot or he's being paid off here. Either or, it's not a good look for him, as of course he started off this conversation with Tim Dillon by talking about how people are just on the fringe, spreading conspiracy, and again, this whole thing from the very beginning. I remember talking about this, and they're like, oh, you think there's an island? You're crazy. You think that elites go to, like, special secret locations and they hurt small children? You're insane. You're crazy. You think elites coalesce together and secretly collaborate to help themselves out? You're crazy. All of that has been true and been verified to be true. And now, again, this gaslighting, this type of emotional, low IQ manipulation attempt by Chris Cuomo here absolutely failed in the face of Tim Dillon, that
slapped him upside the head with some reality that, of course, made him actually agree to Tim's point and disagree with his original dissertation, which is this.
Why is it that people on the fringe right seem to engage in conspiracies more? Is it a coincidence that Benny Johnson and Charlie Kirk are more interested in the Epstein files? Is it a coincidence that Rogan was, talking so much about Epstein killing himself versus being murdered? Why do we hear more of that?
Why do we keep hearing about people having questions about a known extortion, racketeering, compromise operation? Why do we want to know? When the corporate media, the big banks, Silicon Valley, we're all involved here. Why do we want to know? It's fringe conspiracy theories. It's not conspiracy theories. It's people trying to get to the bottom of how the system truly operates. And I think mentioning and talking about how Epstein and a lot of the bigger players above him were essentially calling a lot of the shots here. And guess what? They're still calling the shots here. But before getting into that, playing the rest of this, because I thought Tim Dillon's response here was brilliant. Before getting into his response, we wanted to tell you about LukeUnfiltered.com. We got a lot of great things in the works for our members. Why? But understand, you're not alone. Been so smart. Come out, some of them. July 20th, come out. All of those events are available to you as members of LukeUnfiltered.com. So sign up. We're going to have limited seating for some of them. So make sure that you are there. Now, let's get back to this Tim Dillon response here, because I thought it was great. And I think it's important because this former CNN propagandist really just spewing idiocy. It's just nonsense. How dare you have a conspiracy theory? It's not a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy fact that small children were used to get compromise on very powerful people in our world. And guess what? Those people still haven't been held accountable, and they're still calling a lot of the shots here.
I think there's people on the fringe left, if you remember, and listen, I think Epstein probably was murdered. I mean, I don't think there's a...
Oh, but so what? What? I'm going by Johnny here. What do you mean, but so what? You idiot. You. The guy had his neck broken 3 different times, okay? He had like, clear signs around him. If that was even him, out of so many circumstantial things and incidences and events that lined up to the biggest security failure of all freaking time here. The guy had paper towels for bed sheets, and somehow he used that and was able to break his neck in 3 parts, which is inconsistent of that specific type of hanging off of a 6-foot type of bed frame.
Well, based on the idea that the cameras went out and the guards fell asleep, and he had information on some of those most powerful people in the world, and his best friend, Ghislaine Maxwell's father, Seymour Hersh, wrote a book alleging that he was an agent of the Mossad, and they had what clearly seems like a honeypot operation, and that all of these politicians were on his jet. Like, it feels like, again, just from an outsider's point of view, he got a sweetheart deal for the first time he was accused and convicted of being inappropriate with a minor. And I don't know the exact terminology. He did a lot more than be inappropriate with a minor. But you have this intriguing, weird figure who's connected to all of these very powerful people and has an island where people are going to meet up with underage women, and all of these people are coming out and testifying to that effect.
And babies and children. People forget about that part.
And then right before his trial, he dies. I mean, Chris, let's be honest, if we're talking about the mafia, and we're talking about a guy that had information on all of these big, powerful people, and he gets whacked, does not a part of your brain? And Kirk or Johnson or Rogan or whoever, me or anybody who's looking at this, and people on the left and the fringe left also has some conspiracies.
This is a good point that Tim Dillon made here, that Goomba Johnny could understand here, because he's a big little sausage head here, okay? The big sausage head. Listen, think of this if this was your Uncle Vinny. Okay, think of this if this was the mafia here, Mr. Goomba. Oh, they whacked the guy, yeah, because he had dirt on the boss. Duh. Now we're just trying to figure out who the boss is. And we need to know, since so many people are involved here. And again, the left had a lot of fringe conspiracy theories that never were called out. Never were really kind of addressed. Never really were dealt with, that were more unhinged, based off no facts or reality at all, as Tim Dillon explained.
One of them was that Donald Trump was an agent of Russia, and by the fringe left, I mean every media organization, including the one you used to work for, every day was Russiagate. So, to me, it's like, don't you look at the Epstein thing and for a minute say to yourself, yes, it is possible that this guy who is involved in potentially blackmailing people, but certainly involved in human trafficking and connected to all these wealthy, powerful people, gets whacked before he can say any of their names?
Yes. I think it's very curious.
Now the wheels are turning in Mr. Goomba Johnny, wannabe Johnny Bravo. Now the wheels are turning. All right? He got the meatball out of his mouth for a second there, and he started to just ponder. Look, you see a little light bulb break above his head here. As Betty Johnson, who's named here, responded, saying, Chris Cuomo name-dropped me, Charlie Kirk, Joe Rogan, spearing us as conspiracy theorists and extremists for demanding the Epstein files and the truth behind what happened to his demise here. Tim Dillon went scorched earth in response. Straight gut punch watch. Yeah, absolutely. Great job, Tim Dillon here, who also had a very interesting reaction to the FBI Director Kash Patel and his handling of this entire matter and situation, which I thought was also very important to kind of look at here. As of course, we can either laugh or cry here, and at least there's a little bit of laughter here, but I think Tim Dillon's kind of natural raw reaction here is what a lot of us are feeling.
Here's Kash Patel talking about why they can't put the Epstein stuff out because it will re-victimize the women.
We're not going to re-victimize women.
The hell does that mean? What do you mean, re-victimize them? What are you talking about? You can help them. You can help them. See, I can't even help them myself. I'm already having a reaction. You can help them get justice, right? I think if the women that are victimized by, let's just say,
Exactly. It's not re-victimizing these victims, and it's not only women. We're talking little boys who were abused also, and it's about getting justice, not the just us protection syndicate that you're covering up for, you frickin' fake-ass lying piece of garbage. The only reason you're the FBI director is because you played all of us in Amanda Milius's documentary that you were heavily featured in a few years ago. That's the only reason. Kash Patel has been a disgusting disappointment as FBI director. I've never seen somebody flip their freaking spine so quickly, and still be able to walk.
Technically, Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, and all these other, Reid Hoffman, let's just say a person who was, porked non-consensually by predators that are powerful. You think naming them and holding them accountable would re-victimize the victims? Get the hell out of here. What are you talking about? Piss me off. I'm like, what the hell's going on? We're not re-victimizing anything. We want the truth. We want justice. We want accountability. Reid Hoffman and Bill Gates. Allegedly. Hypothetically. According to my own personal opinion. Don't sue me.
What? We're not going to put that shit back out there. It's not happening. Because then he wins. Not doing it.
Well, stop that for a minute. The craziest thing I've ever heard. Why wouldn't you just blur the victim?
If there was a video of some guy or gal committing felonies, and I'm in charge, don't you think you'd see it?
Yes, but that's why everyone's confused. Pam Bondi said there were videos. She's the Attorney General. She goes, there's hundreds of hours of video. That's a quote from him. But get the Pam Bondi quote up by the videos. There are tens of thousands of videos of Epstein with children or child porn, and there are hundreds of victims. Yeah, that's Pam Bondi. Now let's go to Kash Patel, who goes, so if there were things, let's go. Kash Patel, everyone.
If there was a video, don't you think you'd see it?
If you have access to it.
If I have it. Period. If I have it. If I have it. Got it?
So,
Where else would it be?
where is it? If you have it.
Right.
But you can't say that you have it.
This is Who's on First. Get up the famous joke, Who's on First.
Yeah, absolutely. It's bewildering. It's crazy, and I think it's pretty clear. We know what happened here. I think it's pretty clear that we understand that there's probably orders from top down, maybe even from Donald Trump. That's why Elon Musk kind of let's just be in the real world with ourselves. That's what Donald says. We're not going to do anything with this. Or there's someone above Donald Trump, because that's the only explanation here that could explain Kash Patel's kind of very weird, awkward behavior here. Okay, there's no other explanation other than top dog, or someone that we don't know is the bigger dog in our whole system that's saying, yeah, we're not going to hold those people accountable for forcing themselves on false order. We're just not. What? Are you kidding me? And there's a lot of people involved here. I thought what Tim Dillon had to say about Palantir and Peter Thiel was very interesting, as we also just found out recently. Jeffrey Epstein invested in Peter Thiel, something that is now estimated to be worth over $200 million value. That was donated from and given to Jeffrey Epstein to Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel also raking in millions and having an involvement not just in PayPal, not just in a lot of other big tech social media enterprises, but also Palantir. As this was another interesting kind of eye-opening statement from Tim Dillon here that talked about how this whole Palantir thing is weird, as they're probably buying people up. And he discussed how he was specifically invited to dinners at Peter Thiel's house to discuss media and culture.
If you have not one reservation about what's going on over there, I'm not saying you have to feel one way or another way, but if you don't have any if you have no reservations about what's happening with all these kids getting killed, I don't know, I can't trust you. If you don't have any reservations about Palantir taking everyone's information, I don't know. I don't know if I can trust you. I think they're buying people left and right. This is my guess.
Yeah. Listen, from my sources, anything I know, that absolutely is going on here. That's the crazy part of it all. And no one really talks about it, but now, the corporate media was bought and sold. Now there's special interest going directly to the source of a lot of these kind of independent content creators. And they're saying, listen, you want sugary sodas to be part of Snap benefits. You're going to support that? You will? How much? $1,000 for one post? You got it. Boom. Who's the check right out to? The comment here by Edion is pretty spot on, saying, I trust this HOMO as much, so much, I'll get naked and bend over in front of him. Listen, out of all the people, comedians, Tim Dillon's a real one for talking about this stuff. Let's give him credit where credit is due.
They try to buy me.
He says his vagina's expensive.
I get invited to these dinners, I don't go. I've been invited to Thiel's house multiple times for dinner, I don't go. It's no shade at them. Or whatever, The reason I don't go is I remember one dinner, they're like, we'd like to discuss the media. I go, what? No thanks. We'd like to discuss dinner. We discuss the media and culture. No thanks. Appreciate it. That's fine. Don't need it. Here's what I'm doing every week. I'm discussing the media. Hey, good news, I have a show. You can listen to it.
Yep. And then he goes on. There's a lot of people that do take those types of meetings. There's a lot of people that are like, oh yeah, I'll go. Sure. Oh. How much are you worth? How much? Oh, okay. Cool. Fair to say here, based on our reporting, you know where we stand. I'm still hungry because I don't get no dinner. I don't want dinners. I'm fine. I'll make my own because of you and your support, specifically on lucrativepostweek.com. I appreciate you guys. And again, seriously, there's been big institutions that are like, we're going to come on in, we're going to give you a bunch of money. And I'm like, yeah, but what strings does that come with? Oh, this one, that one. But don't worry, it'll be fine. You'll still get to save most of it. I'm like, get the hell out of here. We're fully independent.
We're not supported by anyone but you. And our vitamins shop, and our events. LookUnfiltered.com. We appreciate your support more than ever. It's needed now more than ever. Can't thank you enough because of that. Thank you so much for subscribing, being a part of this independent media organization, being a part of the newsroom where we talk about the news, all on LookUnfiltered.com. I love you guys. Stay tuned for more, all here exclusively on YouTube.com/WeAreTeam.
Hassan Piker, one of the most prominent leftist streamers, has joined the LA riots. Okay, I don't know that he's actually rioting. I've not seen any of that. Some people are accusing him of having done that. His statements, and why he's there, is because he wants to present the perspective of the protesters, the rioters. Now, not literally everybody is rioting, so I'm not entirely sure exactly what Hassan is involved in, but this is a riot and not a protest. But I'm going to stress this because I think the nuance is important. I don't believe that Hassan engaged in any untoward activity. I also don't think it matters in the big picture. Well, I certainly don't think he should get in any kind of trouble or be arrested, and I think it's actually impressive that Hassan has gone down there himself to document this, despite the fact that I disagree with him on his views. I do respect it. Very few people are actually going on the ground and documenting, live streaming these things anymore. I think ultimately it's a good thing. Well, the dude is probably the dude is literally biased, and he's going to show you what I'll show you. Still going to give you an opportunity to see what's happening on the ground. I wouldn't recommend watching it, but it is still a good source. So let me put it this way. What I mean to say is, if someone asks me, Tim, where can I watch this live? I'm not going to say Hassan. That being said, it is good that he is live streaming this. It doesn't matter what he wants to portray. It matters what he will portray. And though I believe that he and his producers likely will avoid showing the rioters in negative light, maybe they turn the camera away, they're going to catch important bits of information, and I can respect that. Now, right now, there are accusations that certain leftists and liberals want him to get arrested and are reporting him to the FBI to get arrested. Over at the Destiny subreddit, there was a post that popped up saying, report him to the FBI, to local law enforcement. Now, apparently, the Destiny subreddit is saying it's fake news. Someone randomly posted this and then deleted it and ran away to make it seem like Destiny's fans, another prominent leftist streamer, was trying to get Hassan Piker arrested. Oh boy. The big picture here, and what I want to talk about before we get to like the actual big, grandiose Civil War type stuff, is that I don't view I view this as kind of like a C-, D tier level kind of reporting, where prominent individuals are going to try to generate attention by going to these events and joining in on them. And what I mean by joining in on them is, Hassan literally says himself, he says, my goal with the UCLA student encampments was to show you how different the reality on the ground was from the way the media was framing it. The LA protests are the same. It feels chaotic from afar, but the protesters are your neighbors. The threat is ICE. The threat is police. Hassan Piker is literally joining in these riots. So I want to be very careful what I'm saying. He's not himself engaging in violence or anything like that. But these have broken down into riots. He's joining them to present a narrative that the police are the bad guys. Now let's just hold on there a minute. The real issue I take with this is that the police are on the side of the rioters. And this is why people, they get mad at me, you know, like, Tim's not a back the blue automatically kind of guy. I can say nice things about cops. I can talk about how the narrative is often slanted against your average cop. In LA, a blue state, okay, they're appointed by Democrats, they're run by Democrats, and they are themselves Democrats. Their worldview is very much aligned with the California narrative. And many of these people, many of these officers are maybe like second or third generation illegal immigrant children. Like, let me clarify what I mean that. These are people whose parents or grandparents may be illegal immigrants. They don't want to enforce against this. Governor Newsom doesn't want to enforce against it. Mayor Bass doesn't want to enforce against it. California is on the side of non-citizens. They want them to be here. They don't want the police to interfere. So Hassan is effectively serving as, there's this fake view that's being created by what he's doing. And I'm going to stress, I'll say it again, I actually respect that he's on the ground covering this. I don't agree with his worldview or his opinions. The footage will still be valuable to everybody. And I suggest those that are seeking to find evidence of certain instances or whatever may have happened, you can watch that footage. If somebody asks me for live coverage, I'd say get it somewhere else. My point is, what Hassan is doing when he says it's the police. This is the narrative they want to create. The police are the bad guys. The rioters are the good guys. The police have been forced to back down. The rioters have won. Here's the reality. The police are standing down intentionally because they want the rioters to obstruct ICE and the feds. The state government of California wants as many illegal immigrants as possible. That's why they decriminalize border crossings. That's why they give free health care to illegal immigrants under 26. That's why they are a sanctuary state. They want them here because it boosts their congressional seat count, and then California gets a favorable amount of votes in Congress. This means it's not just about stealing presidential elections through the electoral vote count. It is not just that they can pass Democrat laws like banning guns nationwide through California cheating. It is more than that. It is that they have more opportunities to benefit themselves. California is in gross violation of the Constitution. California, with its, 36? I think it's how many congressional seats, California? I think it's 36. Am I wrong? I'm probably way wrong. It's probably something bigger than that. It is 52. 52! Why did I think 36? That's crazy. This means in Congress, where we only have, 435? I'm sorry. Yes, 435 members of Congress. 50 of them, about an eighth of all of these votes, are going to have to go through California. So when a member of Congress did I get my math way wrong on that one? That is an eighth, right? When the members of Congress are negotiating and saying, I want to pass this bill, California has more opportunities to cut these deals. And that's where that's absolutely insane. That's absolutely insane. They're going to be able to get preferential treatment from this. So, the video that's going viral, of course, that Hassan was standing there when several flashbangs went off. I don't care too much about this. I'll show you some of the comments. One person said, respect for him being out there. Another said, not a big fan of Hassan, but his stream made me respect him quite a bit. He actually walked the talk, putting himself in a risky situation to support a cause. Gotta respect that. Honestly, glad he showed up, even though I think his points are stupid. At least putting some kind of effort into standing for what he believes in. I agree with all that. You know, I'm going to give Hassan Parker this one. I think he's low. I think he's not very bright. I don't think he knows a lot about what he's talking about. But he does not make spam anti-Trump videos. He makes anti-Trump videos, and that's always allowed. Because he talks about a bunch of other subjects as well. He actually goes on the ground to support the cause he believes in. I respect that. I just think he's wrong. He's also called for violence and made veiled comments and threats and things like that. So, with that being said, of course, no one should be surprised to find that The Verge and other prominent outlets are actually promoting him as a way to watch the riots on the ground. Now we have this. Hassan Biker says, these guys claim to be liberals who hate Trump. And there's this post from r/Destiny. That's the subreddit for the Destiny leftist streamer, or liberal. They said Hassan is participating in the LA riots, which were declared illegal by the federal government. Here's what you can do. They wrote, okay, so this loser is going outside and literally rioting, even though the police and government have made it clear it's illegal and everyone should stop. Well, most of the riots are masked and hiding their identities. Hassan is a known personality and easily identifiable. You can submit screenshots of him protesting against police orders to the FBI online here, or to the LA police here. It's finally time to get this terrorist arrested. Okay. Well, here's the post from r/Destiny. Keep yourself safe from misinformation. They show this post saying, Dan Saltman's minions, Ethan's bestie, are mass reporting Hassan to the FBI for the crime of protesting Trump's fascist government. These are the same people who pretended to be upset that Hassan didn't fully back the Democrats in the election, by the way. They're claiming this photo was fake. Just want to put out a little PSA about misinformation. They say we have users that actively use alts to get screenshots from other subs around the website. In this instance, someone last night posted this obvious bait, screenshotted it, and somehow it ended up pinned to another sub. They didn't include much in the screenshot, so I went ahead and put together as a way to show just how quickly this misinformation can be spread. I hope that people who say things are clipped out of context. I'd hope that people who say things are clipped out of context would notice when something just a little too tight to show the full context. Blah, blah, blah. And they show, let me show the other images. Another deleted post. Hassan is participating in the LA riots, which is declared illegal. Post deleted. And the user's apparently gone, claiming they feared getting doxxed. Now, I don't know much about all this leftist infighting between, like, Hassan and Ethan and all that, which is weird and silly. Whatever. What I can say is, the big picture, and why this matters. This is the future of media. Hassan supports their cause. He's not a journalist. He's not going to tell you the truth about what's going on. His footage is still invaluable in that he captures a lot of what's happening. And by piecing together all of this from every different angle, we might actually get a better understanding of what really happened. So it is to an extent good. But in the future, we are going to have tons of prominent personalities doing things like this for social media to get attention. Because we are moving away from a service sector economy, and soon robots will take it all over, white-collar jobs will be gone. We are already entering the attention economy, where if we can hold attention of people, we make money. What comes next? We got a lot more to talk about the riots, though, outside of Hassan Piker and the liberals and whatever it is they're fighting about. This may be insurrection or civil war. Stay tuned, my friends. More segments coming up. Smash the like button. Follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast, and we'll see you all in the next segment.
She hit record thinking TikTok light. She hit record thinking it was just another TikTok trend, something light, maybe even funny. But what started as a harmless post ended up dragging her husband's name through the mud. Now the internet's watching, and the damage, it's already done.
My husband decided to be spontaneous and take me to the movies last night.
Let's get straight to it.
And when we went to dinner afterwards, I was talking about how much I really loved the movie. It was so good. I was so excited to talk about it. And he looks at me dead in my face and says, it was just a movie.
He's right. In the end of the day, it's just a movie.
And I immediately stopped talking.
What do you mean by that?
So the more I sat there and thought about it, I start crying. It gets really uncomfortable, and he tries to, like, break the silence by continuing to talk, and I finally looked at him and I said, that really hurt my feelings.
You serious? Getting angry or offended by a movie is insane.
And he responded, it was just a movie. I said, I was really excited to talk about it. You took me to see this movie on a whim. I've never heard of it, didn't look it up beforehand, and I really loved it. You picked a great movie, and I was so excited, and now I don't want to talk at all. Because why would I want to talk after that? And he immediately stops. He's like, you're right, I'm sorry. And then he grabs my hands. He's like, I'm not even being sarcastic. You're right, I'm sorry. I love when you get excited. It's just annoying sometimes.
I will be honest when I say that the guy shouldn't have dismissed her when she was excited about the movie, but he owned up and apologized.
I recognize that he is trying and he is learning how to communicate with me. It's not an overnight process, but it is very painful. He's still new to his healing journey, so I just have to keep remembering that.
The phrase, it's just a movie, made this woman cry and make a video about it. Let it sink in. Step 1 of your healing journey. Delete your social media accounts.
You are correct. There is hatred here, but it's not for me. It's for himself. He hates my joy and excitement because he has nothing to feel joyful or excited about.
What?
And that's exactly what I said to him after he said it was sometimes annoying.
Telling her husband that nothing about his life is exciting is too harsh if you ask me.
The comments were not surprising. I actually almost didn't read them because I knew exactly how they were going to go. I started my healing journey in August of 2020. In the first year of my healing journey, I crashed out at least 2 to 3 times a month. And he was there to take the beating every single time.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
No matter what we go through in life, We have no right to take it out on the ones who are close to us.
When you start healing and reconnecting with your higher self, your brain thinks it's in danger and it starts to project and deflect to whoever is closest to you.
Are you serious?
In my case, it was usually my husband, and now in his case, it is me.
Respect to him for staying patient and enduring this behavior, even if he doesn't need to.
If I didn't feel like he was trying, I would not be here. I am secure in myself enough to know that I can make it on my own if I have to.
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
I advocate for myself 100% of the time. 3 years ago, he wouldn't have even known that that upset me. And yesterday, he had to sit in that discomfort. Oh, and also, most women don't recognize when these red flags happen, so it is great when you point them out in the comments in a very respectful way. I love how most of you did it. However, the ones who are saying you should just leave him, we met in 2007. We have 3 kids together. A lot of our life is very intertwined. You can't just go. You have to plan things.
The only thing I appreciate in her words is the fact that she took into consideration all the things they went through and fought hard for her marriage instead of running away the chance she got.
Appreciate it.
Let's all agree to not make jokes like this when it comes to food. It's just disrespectful.
Why only got 1 piece of chicken? I only got 1 piece of chicken? That's what we had left.
You got 4?
You got a full? You made me full broccoli. It's actually 5. It's pretty difficult to put into words how disgusted I am, how depressed I am.
She's fat. She's twice his size, and she has 4 pieces of chicken to his 1. And he's the one that goes out and makes the money to support the family. Yeah, that's messed up.
Yeah. What is it? We're TV dinner. Oh. Who is this filling up?
Even a kid wouldn't be full over this dinner.
My mother gave me 18 broccoli. So she gave you more than me? Yo. You get a little extra piece of chicken at least. Let me get a little, you gave me 1 piece of chicken. That's what we had left.
What kind of animal are you?
So you gonna be hungry? Or?
I'm sure she's recording this for views, but it's disrespectful to play with someone this way.
You want that? I'll take some. Please? I will give you mine. Oh no, you eat yours. Put it down. No. He's trying to give you the one he did. No. Bro, what am I doing with 1 piece of...
My disappointment is immeasurable.
Daddy, just eat it. It's okay. Some people are grateful, right? It's okay, right? Yeah. What is that?
Even the kids were sharing their food, showing loyalty that the mother wasn't showing.
Here you go. Your plate. Man, what the hell was that? Nothing. You said you were hungry? Yeah. Here. Man, what the hell did I do? I'm sorry. Here you go. Wow. What the? What are you doing? You want me to get you your coffee too? You want coffee? No.
If my wife disrespected me like that, I'd call a lawyer.
Blessed the Lord, and this thy gift we're about to receive from thy bounty through Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen. God, please let this food nurture our bodies and give us the nutrition that we need for the day.
Evil, selfish woman.
Amen.
Evil, selfish woman, as he's got his eyes closed praying before his meal, is taking everything.
Were you just eating while we were praying?
Praying? I thought you were sleeping.
I beg your pardon? Why would I be sleeping and talking at the same time?
The disrespect here is unbelievable.
Oh, I was hungry, and I kind of already like... What? I didn't even eat.
You're supposed to pray just out of respect.
I was praying.
Other people, so that was a lie.
I haven't had this meal. Like, we have been blessed to have this meal.
I'm sorry. I am blessed. I mean,
You're gonna continue.
I'm appreciative.
Even if she doesn't like to pray, she could have respected him while he was doing so.
You just pray for us.
I mean, might as well now.
You just pray for us.
Kind of weird, like, it's just out of respect, though. Like, you know, you don't just do that.
I already prayed before the meal.
I don't think so.
Well, where did the other chicken go? You finished it that fast?
What is that? Blood sugar? Yeah, I was eating it, and it was just so good.
I don't even know what to say. That was...
What's wrong?
Because you're just supposed to pray before you eat.
I bet he's thinking about how to end that relationship.
And I prayed.
In the middle of a prayer,
You were praying.
While I have my eyes closed.
You were praying, and I was eating.
You don't want to be like this. This is disgusting.
And you continuously eat. Like, let's be respectful.
What are you talking about?
That's why you eat. You know what?
What's up? I heard that if you eat before you pray,
No, I don't even want you to finish this.
more blessings come to you.
Trust me, it's a nightmare to eat next to someone like this.
Where you going? Where you going?
Even the dog left.
Okay, cheers.
I am disgusted by my husband.
I don't like where this is going.
Any woman living with a spouse, married, unmarried, doesn't matter, just living with a spouse. Tell me if you would feel the same way about this. Me and my husband have separate towels. So he has like a dark color, I have a light color, so you can't confuse them. Yesterday was towel wash day. I wash towels weekly because I have like acne-prone skin, so like, you know, I keep them fresh. Anyways, yesterday I was washing them, and I didn't put out the new sets. We each have 2 sets, so we have like an A set and a B set. I didn't set out said B set for him. I just set out my set because I was lazy. Who cares?
Cleaning them, but not cleaning his, is a bit harsh. Especially if she's doing it anyway.
So this morning, I wake up, and I see that he hadn't put out, like, his stuff, and it had been, like, 18 hours or whatever. And I said to him, I said, how did you, like, wash your hands or, like, dry your hands or anything like that? Like, how did you do that? He goes, ready? I used yours. The hell? He said he washed his face and used my face towel, like my towel, mine.
When she said she's disgusted, I thought he used her towel to wash somewhere private. But if it's only his face, I don't see why she would be disgusted.
Now, I have lived with this man for 5 years. I have been married for like 2.5. Love this man to death. But I am disgusted and I have the ick about it. Does anyone else feel this way? Like if their husband used their towel? I feel like almost like violated.
She could have told him, but she decided to embarrass him, showing it to the whole internet.
A man cannot feel love from a woman if he doesn't feel respected. If she's always being quarreling to him, she's always being negative and downing him, how can you love me if you don't respect me as a man? Right. That's what brings out the protector and the provider of us. I wish women would understand their superpowers, because if they understood that they can get anything they want from us.
If we're being respected, we will offer them the world.
100%. We literally get up every day to go and try to make ourselves valuable enough to provide for a woman. And imagine if you spent your life building yourself up to be able to have a beautiful woman in your presence, and she didn't respect the things that you took 20 years to bring to her. Preparing this house, preparing my finances, preparing my mental, my physical, everything about me to bring to you and say, here, baby, but you don't respect me? Right. No. I'm cool. I'm cool on the love. Yeah. You don't respect me, I can't feel your love anyway.
All we ask for is respect, nothing more.
That's not good, ain't it? I got me a burger. God dog. Jesus.
Yeah, bro. What the fuck? That bitch, you're right. Why you feeding him like that? I can't tell him to say stuff. What the hell? I didn't know it was a problem. I know damn well. You just ain't put that burger to Sam out. Like, he ain't got no damn hands to feed himself. Man, what's the issue? Oh, my God. Boy, that burger's good. What the issue is? I don't even get paid. What you get? I'm saying, like, what?
Oh, yeah, that bacon fry we did. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Just let me know when you...
She belongs to the street. You know. So I'm gonna sit down and before I knock that damn burger on the floor. Stop it!
And when we say we want respect, it means none of these pranks that will only ruin the relationship.
You that burger? That man know how to eat. What you doing? See, I'm saying you sit there feeding him like you don't know how to eat his own damn food. Hey, I'm gonna eat his food. Shit, I don't do it last time. Check 28. This folks just be funny. This folks just be... Hey, listen, chill, stop feeding Sam that damn food.
Hey, what's the issue?
Stop feeding Sam that damn food. What you mean? What the issue? You saying feed my brother. I don't even get paid. I'm saying though, I don't even get paid.
Your partner feeding your friend next to you is the ultimate form of disrespect.
Ladies, when you tell your friends how awful your husband is, or when you complain about your husband to your friend, and he hears it or it gets back to him, you know what he hears? She doesn't think I'm enough. And she thinks that so strongly that she's telling everybody else that I'm enough. And now everybody knows that I'm not enough.
It's enough to make us walk away.
And the shame explodes. And we hide even more. If your husband doesn't like going out with your friends, maybe it's because he's shamed because he thinks you're talking about him to all of your friends. But let's flip it, because husbands, you do it too.
Talking about her husband in a negative way is enough of a reason to divorce, because if she disrespects him in front of strangers, then it's over.
I still stand by the fact that my husband is the ugliest man that I have ever met 5 years into our marriage.
What?
If you are single right now, it's because you want to be attracted to your partner, and that is just not realistic. I don't know how many times women on this app are going to have to say it. Find an ugly ass man and marry him. And I'm not talking about a guy that just needs a little brush up, okay? I'm talking about a terminally unattractive man. I sleep with an eye mask at night so that I have time in the morning to mentally prepare before I make eye contact with my husband.
This reminds me of this 65-year-old troll that was part of a gaming group at our local library. She's a very, very man-hating woman. Yeah, men need to do better, that kind of nonsense, always out of her mouth. But her husband would drive and drop her off and drive back to pick her up. Oh, that's nothing. She lost her legs because she's a stupid idiot. Not just one, both of them. Because she knows more than everybody, but she's one of the stupidest women I've ever met in my life. We're playing this game one night, and she's just constantly making misandrous comments. And this time, I've only met 2 attractive men in my entire life. It was all I could do to not bust out laughing, rolling on the floor, thinking, you're the ugliest woman on the fucking planet, lady. That's a pretty brazen thing for you to say, that you've only met 2 that you've ever been attracted to of men, when you yourself crack mirrors.
If that guy isn't fit, have a heart of, and it's better than someone who's but rotten on the inside.
But here I am, married, and you're not. So, who's laughing?
Yeah, it is, if you have reasonable expectations in what you're looking for. This video is so heartless. What if he sees it? Does he know? You're taking that man away from someone who would genuinely find him attractive. And what happens when he gets dressed up for you? Do you tell him he looks good? Or does he get no compliments from you? Because any compliment would be a lie.
You know, and go with what Lynn, I think her name's Lynn Watcom, is commenting on this other woman's, commentary. She didn't say that her current husband, who picks her up and drops her off and does all of the work that she is, needs to survive. She didn't state clearly that her husband was one of those two men. Another point in time, she did state, "Oh, I saw him in a cowboy hat, and he's 6 foot plus. I set eyes on him, and that's the one I want." That's, but most of the time, she barely mentions him. She mentions him in passing, and if you were to ever meet him, he's very subservient, very beta, and she's very domineering. So don't make the presumption that, well, obviously her husband is one of those two men. No, I'm willing to bet that he was only one of the only man who was willing to put up with her, because she is literally never wrong. She puts it out there. Her misandry, her bigotry, I've never balanced a checkbook in my life. That level of incompetence. No legs, unable to do simple arithmetic, but yet she knows everything. So be aware that these types of individuals exist. Oh, that's other men. Yeah, we hear about that every frickin' day, every hour of every frickin' day. This is calling out the women that do this and have done this generationally, who get a free pass.
Everyone deserves to be with someone that finds them attractive. They deserve to feel desired and wanted. The fact that you find your man ugly and you're willing to tell the world about it is absolutely disgusting. Not only is that embarrassing for him, but I can't even imagine how he would probably feel if he saw this. How would you feel if he made a video like this about you?
If it was the other way around, the guy would be strictly criticized.
He doesn't even have to be the most handsome man you've ever seen on the planet. You should be with someone you at least find attractive. This is just so messed up.
I hope the guy sees it and takes action.
If your woman disrespects you, here's how you can get her respect back. Number one, set very clear boundaries. Vocalize the things you'll tolerate and the things you will not tolerate. And if she violates, you better stand on business. Number two, learn to stay emotionally in control or unreactive. Being completely unreactive to a woman's nonsense, mood swings, and behavior is a superpower. Harness it. Number three, focus on improving yourself, your body, your mind, your pocket, and your ability to stay fully present in life. Number four, be willing to walk away if she violates your most sacred values. And make sure there's clear consequences for any misdemeanors. Don't fight, don't argue, don't even explain, just move on. Number five, never chase her when she pulls back, especially when she breaks up with you. Instead of chasing her, use that pain to fuel your next great success. Number six, surround yourself with men on a higher level than you are.
If you ever get disrespected, never laugh it off or accept it. Just respectfully let them know you don't accept that and move on.
Want to go far in life? Stand on the shoulders of titans. You'll see way further than if you're standing on the ground. And if after all this she still doesn't respect you, it's not you anymore, fam. Get rid of her and never look back.
So my wife just fucked up me, and she took everything that wasn't glued to the ground. Check it out. Well, she did leave me my gigantic dog though. Oh, in the night, like literally everything though. Here's what used to be our bedroom. Here's our closet. Didn't even leave me any clothes whatsoever. Like, why did you take my clothes?
She belongs to the street. Taking everything, including his clothes, is immoral and takes a heart of ice.
But she was kind enough to leave 2 chew toys for the dogs too. Washer and dryer? Gone. Our pantry? Gone. Let's see if I'm gonna starve or not. Oh, yep, gone. Maybe she left something to clean my house though.
She's heavy.
Oh, nope, gone.
That is either somebody who feels that they contributed everything and the other person didn't, or somebody who is extraordinarily selfish and petty.
Oh, she did leave a water bowl, though, with some water in the dog bowl. I have no towels to take a shower. That's cool. Well, at least I had you guys, right? You didn't leave me.
Yeah.
She left the most important thing,
Yep.
and it's his dogs.
Good.
I hated my healthy relationship.
What do you mean by that?
I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Everything seemed extremely foreign to me. I even remember at the beginning of my relationship, I'm like, hey, there's a part of me inside that does not like you.
When people are used to toxic, they won't like what's normal.
And I said it with like a comical relief, but I was really serious. Like, there was a part of me that did not like this person, did not like how he held me accountable. I did not like how he held a mirror to my face. I did not like how he created situations where I had to be at my full potential and I just was not ready to be my full potential at that moment.
Looks like he pushed her to be a better person, but she didn't like that.
I almost lost my husband for the lack of respect that I showed him in our relationship. I grew up around women who I believed were not respectful towards men. They got loud, always were fighting, and for me, I always said I would never do that to my spouse. I worked very hard to make sure I never did those things, and in my mind, that correlated as I respect him. And it wasn't until we kept arguing and we kept fighting, and the one thing that he would bring up and say, you don't respect me, and in my mind I'm like, but I do respect you. Right? I thank him for his grace and his patience with me as I have learned, and I am still learning what respect looked like.
I appreciate her for owning up to her mistakes. It takes a lot of courage, and doing it in front of all of us is a bonus.
I'm going to say this with my whole chest, but I can tell it everything that I need to know about you based on how you talk about your husband. If you make it your whole goal to just talk on him, why'd you marry him? Why are you with him? Do you think that makes you look good? It repulses me. People try to get me to get in on it and to start talking about my husband, and I'm like, no, I love my husband. That's why I married him. Sometimes I question the partners y'all are with and your tolerance of them. But he's the problem. No, babes, you agreed to marry him.
Always pick someone who talks good about you behind your back.
It's 2 to tango.
The truth is, a man will stay in an abusive marriage for years, even decades, before he says a word.
That's what I'm talking about.
He will suffer in silence to just keep the peace in his marriage. And the sad thing is, when a man finally speaks up about the abuse that he's gone through for years, he will be told he's the problem. He will be told that he is mentally unstable.
Yep.
He will be re-traumatized over and over and over again by his toxic wife. She will make sure that the entire world knows that he is the problem, when the reality is that man went through abuse for years.
Toxic femininity.
Men will always prefer to fix, but when they speak, you need to know that they've been patient for a long time.
I never said anything. And the sad part is that man will not realize the amount of abuse that he went through unless he leaves that marriage. And he won't even realize the amount of abuse that he went through for at least 6 months or to a year after he leaves that marriage. See, the abuse a man goes through in a marriage is silent. Because the man stays silent. Because the man doesn't even realize he's being abused until it's too late. Till he's so depressed that he can't even get out of bed. Till he gets to the point where he doesn't want to live anymore. We don't talk about the abuse that men go through in marriage. But the truth is, the abuse men go through in marriage is the reason that men are unaliving themselves at an alarming rate.
So please, my brothers, never stay in a relationship where you're being abused. It's not worth it, and your mental health is priceless. Well, guys, that was all for today. We'll be back soon.
XV1 for critical review and reaction is Jordan Maxwell on Fire in the Minds of Men by James Billington.
Now we need to look at James Billington's book, probably one of the most important books you're ever going to find, and you can still find it today, and you need to get this book and read it. This, I believe, is one of the most important books on this subject you can find anywhere. James Billington's book is called The Fire in the Minds of Men. James Billington is one of the most phenomenally interesting writers you will ever pick up a book. He is fascinating to read, but he has an incredible and impeccable credentials. Today, James Billington is the chief librarian for the Library of Congress. So this man is without a doubt well suited to discuss the story in his book about the communist world movement and how it was financed, who did it, what the symbols meant. This is really an important book, James Billington, and the book is called Fire in the Minds of Men. That's the origins of the revolutionary faith of all the revolutionary movements and secret societies of the world. So get the book. Order it from Amazon. Find it in bookstores. It's a very important book. Now, in the book, Fire in the Minds of Men, in the inside cover, it says, the history of modern revolutions is the story of people in the grips of ideas and beliefs. In this masterful work, James Billington, whose icon in the Acts, this was his first book, establishes him both as a formidable scholar and a sparkling storyteller. But in this book, The Fire in the Minds of Men, he traces the course of the revolutionary faith from its earliest origins in occult Freemasonry to the allegedly scientific Marxism of today. Now, in the introduction is a profound paragraph in Fire in the Minds of Men. James Billington says in the introduction, a recurrent mythic model for revolutionaries, early romantics and young Karl Marx, and the Russians of Lenin's time, was Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods for the use of mankind. The Promethean faith of revolutionaries resembles in many respects the general modern belief that science would lead men out of darkness into light. But there was also a more pointed millennial assumption that on the new day that was dawning, the sun would never set. Early during the French Revolution was born something referred to as, quote, the solar myth of the revolution, suggesting that the sun was rising on a new era in which darkness would vanish forever. This image became implanted at a level of consciousness that simultaneously interpreted something real and produced a new reality. The new reality that they, the secret society, sought was radically secular and stringently simple. The idea was not the balanced complexity of the new American Federation, but the occult simplicity of its great seal, an all-seeing eye atop the pyramid over the words, Novus Ordo Seclorum. Very important. This is why in New York City at Rockefeller Plaza you will see Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods to illuminate the minds of our masters on the earth. The godly wisdom was stolen by the god Prometheus and brought to the earth and given to our illuminated minds, or what we call, those that we call Illuminati, to illuminate our masters who control the human race, implying that they have knowledge of the heavens and wisdom of the world that we mortal men do not have. That's why they are the Illuminati, the illuminated ones. So, I want to draw your attention to the top part again. It says, a recurrent mythic model for revolutionaries, early romantics, young Karl Marx and Russians of Lenin's time was Prometheus. Well, so it is today. Still, young communists and the communist people who finance the communist parties, the Rockefellers, still have their god Prometheus at Rockefeller Center. And the American people, New Yorkers, every day going by the Rockefeller Center never realize what that statue actually implies. It's Prometheus who stole fire from the gods in heaven and brought down to the Illuminati intellectual, spiritual enlightenment to rule over and control the world. Prometheus. Then in the back of the book, under the subheadings in the back of the book, talks about the solar revolution, the temple of the sun, talks about the books that were written as far back as 1887, talking about the year 2000 in New York. You know, as far back as the 1880s, there were books being written about looking forward to New York in the year 2000 and what's going to happen with mankind in the year 2000 in New York. Well, a year later we have the 9/11 stuff. Even speculation about the year 2000 began not with the futurology of the 1960s, but the year 2000 was important in a dynamic work written as far back as 1780 by the same figures who invented the word communist. So the very secret societies out of New York and Europe who were developing what we call communism as far back as 1780s, you know, George Washington knew about them, called the League of Just Men. And they were writing about what was going to be happening in America in the year 2000 in New York.
Do you want to become a miserable old woman? I don't think any of us do. You've seen those women out there. The women that are nattering and nagging their husbands, that are bitchy, that aren't nice, that seem to be so unhappy, and we think, oh God, I hope I'm never one of those miserable old women. That happens from raising a family, working, and then all of a sudden we're in our 50s and 60s and we have nothing. We don't have a life. We don't have a life separate from our family or separate from our husband. And so we resent everybody. I did it. Here I am on my new bed. My princess bed. It's amazing. I feel like a different person already. I feel like I can do whatever I want, and I'm not responsible for anybody anymore but me. I don't know. Things aren't going that great. I didn't know. I guess I did know.